Chapter 856. Obuchi, you've finally grown up. Grandpa Golden Crocodile is very pleased. A warm smile appeared on the golden alligator Douluo's face as he looked at Lu Yuan. As the saying goes, each new generation excels the previous one. Lu Yuan, whom he had once taught, had already surpassed him by far. In terms of strength, he had even entered the limit domain. However, he wasn't disappointed. Instead, he was very pleased. This was because not only did he treat Lu Yuan as his successor, but he also treated Lu Yuan as his own grandson. He was truly happy that Lu Yuan could achieve what he had today. Grandpa Golden Crocodile, I'm sorry for offending you, Lu Yuan said apologetically as he looked at the trace of blood at the corner of Golden Crocodile's mouth. Even though he had held back, a battle was still a battle. There were bound to be clashes. Moreover, if he hadn't used a little bit of his true strength, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Golden Crocodile. It's not your fault. This is a battle. Grandpa Golden Crocodile's injuries aren't serious. I'll be fine in 2 days. Don't worry. Golden Crocodile smiled. Okay. Lu Yuan nodded after hearing Golden Crocodile's words. Obuchi, since I've lost, let the head priest fight with you. He's much stronger than me. You have to give it your all and don't hold back. Otherwise, you'll lose miserably. The golden alligator Douluo instructed. Yes, I'll remember that, Lu Yuan replied. He naturally wouldn't underestimate Sendoryu. The reason why he was able to defeat Golden Crocodile in 9 moves was because of the suppression of his martial soul. Golden Crocodile was rank 98, but in front of him, he could only display the strength of a rank 97 martial soul. Sendoryu was different. Although the quality of his 6-winged angel martial soul wasn't as good as his 5-clawed golden dragon king, it wasn't enough to suppress his martial soul. Human-shaped martial souls were the most special. They could be classified as beast martial souls, but they were different from beast martial souls. Therefore, Sendoryu could unleash his full strength against him. An ordinary person wouldn't be able to imagine how strong an ultimate Douluo was. Lu Yuan didn't dare to be careless. His strength had improved significantly, but that didn't mean that he was arrogant. He had never underestimated an ultimate Douluo. After the Golden Crocodile left the lake, Sendoryu's body, and arrived in front of Lu. The two of them faced each other. Little Yuan, you're not bad. You're still hiding a lot of strength. Your true strength has already entered the limit domain. Sendoryu looked at Lu Yuan with a hint of admiration. Lu Yuan was a rank 77 soul sage, but his fighting strength was already in the ultimate Douluo. Even in his many years of experience, he had only seen one person like this. Although my aura is comparable to an ultimate Douluo, it's still not as strong as Grandpa's. There's also a gap between ultimate Douluo and Grandpa. Grandpa has also gone very far in the ultimate Douluo realm. But even so, I won't lose today. Lu Yuan's tone was calm, but it was full of determination. After hearing this, Sendoryu couldn't help but narrow his eyes. He's so confident. Does this kid still have some trump cards? Grandpa, let's fight. Lu Yuan's eyes narrowed, and his aura suddenly erupted. Waves rose from the lake under his feet, and a wall of water that was dozens of meters tall rose along with Lu Yuan's aura. It looked very powerful. Interesting. Sendoryu muttered. Golden light flickered on his body, and a mysterious ancient chant sounded. Holy light scattered, and the 6-winged angel martial soul attached to his body. Hidden dragon in the abyss. Lu Yuan shouted. His body rose, and his hand seals changed. He pushed out with both palms, and the wall of water that was dozens of meters tall instantly changed. Following Lu Yuan's hand gestures, it turned into a water dragon that was hundreds of meters long. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it roared towards Sendoryu. This was one of his self-created bloodline soul skills, Hidden Dragon in the Abyss. Sendoryu's lips curled into a smile. He raised his palms and fiercely slashed everything. Suddenly, a golden palm appeared in the air and cut the 100-meter-long water dragon in half. Immediately, the huge water dragon turned back into clear lake water and poured out. A casual palm strike was able to break Lu Yuan's hidden dragon in the abyss. He was much stronger than the golden crocodile. The gap between an ultimate Douluo and an ultimate Douluo was huge. If not for his divine ring and divine body, Lu Yuan wouldn't be able to exchange blows with an ultimate Douluo, even if his bloodline had evolved. "Obuchi, take this," Sendorius said plainly. He flipped his palm slightly and pressed it down. Suddenly, a huge palm print appeared in the air and pressed down on Lu Yuan's head. The palm print pressed down and carried a strong aura. "Good timing!" Lu Yuan shouted. The aura's core of qi and blood in his dantian was pulsating rapidly. A powerful bloodline power emerged from the aura's core of qi and blood, directly entering his limbs and bones. Lu Yuan clenched his fist, and boundless strength burst forth. Golden light flashed, and he punched towards the huge palm print. Boom! The golden fist crushed the palm print. However, the remaining strength of the palm print hit the surface of the lake, and a huge sound was heard, and the entire lake sank. The lake water tumbled, and the originally clear lake water became turbid. Affected by the shock waves, even the shore collapsed due to this palm strike. The might of an ultimate Douluo was unfathomable. Unlike his fight with the golden crocodile earlier, Lu Yuan's fight with Sendoriu had reached the ultimate Douluo level. Every punch and kick caused great destruction. Lu Yuan frowned when he saw this scene. If they continued fighting, the island in the center of the lake would probably be blown apart. The surface of the lake was enough for him to fight the golden alligator Douluo, but it was still far from enough for him to fight the 1,000 Dao stream. "Grandpa, let's fight in the air," Lu Yuan said. He flapped his dragon wings and soared into the sky. "All right," Sendoriu responded. He turned into a streak of golden light and followed. The two of them ascended several thousand meters before they finally stopped. Here, they could completely let go of their hands and feet. "Obuchi, I'm afraid it's not good for you to choose to fight in the air. This is my home ground." Sendoriu chuckled as he looked at Lu Yuan. To a true dragon, riding the clouds is also an instinct. So to me, the sky is also my home ground. Lu Yuan shook his head. Dragons follow the clouds and tigers follow the wind. Dragons were born with the ability to fly, and the sky couldn't affect them. That's good. Grandpa also wants to see your full strength. If you're restricted by the battlefield, then it's not good. Sendorius said. Then Grandpa, watch carefully. Lu Yuan said softly. Light flashed in his hand, and the golden dragon spear appeared in his hand. At the same time, his body shone with golden light. The golden dragon armor, which had been upgraded to a divine tool, was also on his body. With two divine tools in hand, Lu Yuan didn't dare to be careless against Sendoriu. Chapter 857. Two Godly Items? Sendoriu's voice froze as he sensed the auras coming from Lu Yuan's golden dragon spear and golden dragon armor. There was a look of surprise in his eyes. The golden dragon spear was one thing, but he had seen this golden dragon battle armor before, and it was a rare armor type external soul bone. However, he didn't think that this external soul bone would evolve into a divine tool. This little brat was always able to surprise everyone. Lu Yuan's aura rose once he donned the golden dragon armor, and he became even stronger. The golden dragon armor had changed a lot, and it was very different from before. Under the influence of the true dragon's heartblood, the rhombus-shaped scales on the golden dragon armor had become fan-shaped dragon scales. Every dragon scale was arranged in a specific order, and they formed a full-body armor with no blind spots. Beautiful cloud patterns were outlined on the armor, and the blood-red cloak on his back had turned golden. There was a handsome dragon's head imprinted on the armor's chest area, and it exuded a powerful dragon's aura. Apart from its appearance, The golden dragon armor's weight had also changed a lot. After becoming a godly item, the golden dragon armor weighed 50,000 kilograms. Other than Lu Yuan, there was probably no one else in the world who could bear such heavy armor. If one wore such an armor, they would be crushed to the ground if they weren't strong enough, let alone fight. Grandpa Golden Crocodile, let's begin. Lu Yuan chuckled as his golden dragon spear broke through space and stabbed toward Sendoryu. Thousands of spear projections appeared in the air before they merged into one. This was the divine skill of the sea god's 13 halberds, 1,000-year spacetime. Not bad. Sendoryu's eyes lit up, and soul power surged in his hand. A golden longsword appeared in his hand, and he slashed it horizontally, tearing apart the spear projections. Lu Yuan's body followed his spear, and he swung it horizontally. Space exploded, and the spear was like a giant pillar that supported the heavens as it attacked Sendoryu with terrifying strength. Self-created soul skill, spear technique. Spatial explosion. With regards to spear techniques, Lu Yuan could be said to be extremely familiar with them. His transitions between spear techniques were flawless and smooth like flowing water. Sendoryu stroked his hand, and dazzling golden flames erupted from his longsword. He swung his longsword horizontally, and it clashed directly with Lu Yuan's golden dragon spear. Bang! With a loud explosion, Lu Yuan was sent flying back over 100 meters before he could stabilize himself, while Sendoryu was also sent flying back a short distance. Sendoryu's soul force crushed Lu Yuan's, but Lu Yuan's strength put him at a disadvantage. However, in comparison, Lu Yuan retreated a little further. What a terrifying and vigorous soul power! Lu Yuan's expression changed slightly as he muttered softly. He wasn't injured. He had a pseudo-godly body, and his physique was very strong. However, he was at a slight disadvantage in that clash. An ultimate Douluo's attack was indeed terrifying. Even Sendoryu, who was the weakest among the current ultimate Douluo, was unbelievably strong. What brat! What brute strength! Sendoryu couldn't help but sigh as he sensed the tremendous strength that had just been unleashed. The magnitude of that power had truly exceeded his expectations. Grandpa again! Lu Yuan flapped his dragon wings, and the golden dragon spear in his hand flickered with blood-red light. A boundless ferocious aura was released. Self-created soul skill, spear technique. Life massacre. Lu Yuan's body turned into a series of afterimages, and his murderous aura locked onto Sendoryu. His golden dragon spear was like a roaring blood-red dragon, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Against Sendoryu, Lu Yuan didn't hold back at all. He unleashed his strongest moves. Good timing. Sixth soul skill, angelic demon sweeping slash. Sendoryu's sixth soul ring glowed with a dim light. The holy light transformed into a huge sword and unleashed a terrifying attack. This was the first time he had used a soul skill since the start of the battle. The huge light blade clashed with Lu Yuan's spear light. His spear technique, Life Massacre, which had always been successful, was broken. The golden dragon spear was knocked out of Lu Yuan's hand, and the remaining light blade continued to slash towards him. Lu Yuan's expression turned serious, and his sixth blood-red soul ring glowed with a demonic light. Sixth soul skill, Golden Dragon's Eternal Defense. The Golden Dragon's Eternal Defense was an absolute defense. It couldn't be broken by anyone below the god rank, and could only be used 3 times a day. Lu Yuan activated his soul skill, and a golden light barrier appeared around him. The light blade struck the light barrier, and was shattered into nothingness. Although he successfully blocked the light blade, Lu Yuan's expression was extremely serious. He didn't expect Sendoryu's attack to be so terrifying after using a soul skill. Just his sixth soul skill was able to completely break his spear technique, Life Massacre. This was one of his strongest self-created soul skills, and even his dragon swimming Great Void was on par with it. Furthermore, What shocked him the most was that the golden dragon spear in his hand had been knocked away by Sindoryu. He couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart, and he became even more serious about the upcoming battle. With a thought, the golden dragon's spear flew back into his hand. However, Lu Yuan put it away. Instead, a 3-meter-long spear appeared in Lu Yuan's hand. It was golden and jade, and it contained a strong dragon's aura. It was a super divine weapon, the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear. Sindoryu was so strong that he couldn't be bothered to hide it. He directly took out the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear. The jade-like spear felt extremely comfortable in his hand. The spear trembled slightly, and a terrifying force burst forth. It was very strong and very convenient to use. After his bloodline evolved, this spear was even more convenient to use. When he held it in his hand, it felt as if it was connected to his bloodline. "Grandpa, be careful!" Lu Yuan shouted as he stabbed out with the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear. Instantly, the wind and clouds started to stir. Dragon roars sounded, and this spear was like a shooting star that descended from the sky. It carried the might of a true dragon as it flew towards Sindoryu. Sindoryu focused his gaze, and his fifth soul ring lit up. Fifth soul skill, Holy Sword. The huge golden sword carried holy flames as it split the clouds apart and slashed towards Lu Yuan. Although this was his fifth soul skill, it was actually much more powerful than his sixth soul skill. However, Lu Yuan wasn't holding the golden dragon spear anymore. Clang! The spear and sword clashed, and terrifying energy undulations were unleashed. A strong pressure was transmitted from the spear to his hand. However, he was already prepared this time. He held the spear with close to 500,000 kilograms of force. How could he let the spear be knocked away again? "Break for me!" Lu Yuan shouted, and the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear shone brightly. A 5-clawed golden dragon circled in the air and roared into the sky. The might of a true dragon wasn't to be underestimated. The Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear broke the huge holy sword in half. The spear didn't stop as it stabbed towards Sindoryu again. Sindoryu was shocked when his holy sword was broken. He looked at the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear and hurriedly dodged. Chapter 858. However, although he dodged in time, Lu Yuan's movements were not slow either. The Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear was incomparably sharp, leaving behind a corner of his clothes. High up in the sky, the cold wind blew, and the corner of his clothes was blown away by the wind. What kind of weapon is this? It's actually so powerful? Looking at the spear in Lu Yuan's hand, Sindoryu could not help but ask. He could feel the power of this spear. It was terrifying beyond imagination, far above the golden dragon spear Lu Yuan used before. Most of the power of his attack just now was directly offset by this spear. Otherwise, Lu Yuan would not have been able to break it so easily. The power of the divine sword was extraordinary. Super divine weapon, Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear. Lu Yuan stood with the spear in his hand, and said softly with a calm expression. In the fight just now, he already knew that there was a big gap between him and Sindoryu. However, with the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear, this gap was enough to make up for it. Super divine weapons were the top weapons in this world. They were rare treasures even for divine kings. Why was the sea god ranked at the forefront of the first-tier gods in the divine world? Wasn't it because of the existence of the super divine weapon, sea god's trident? And Lu Yuan's Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear was a bit better than sea god's trident. Although the current hymn could not display the true power of the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear, it was completely enough to fight with Sindoryu. Super divine weapon, Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear? Hearing this, Sindoryu's expression changed slightly. He naturally knew about super divine weapons. As the divine envoy of the angel god, he still understood these things. The angel god's angel holy sword was a divine weapon, and a master divine weapon, which was also a first-tier divine weapon. Above it were super divine weapons. Super divine weapons were extremely rare. Even in the divine world, there were not many. There were only a few people who possessed them. Lu Yuan being able to possess a super divine weapon was probably related to his identity as the successor of the divine king. Sendoryu secretly guessed. However, Obuchi, who possesses the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear, isn't that easy to deal with. Sendoryu narrowed his eyes and sighed in his heart. The pressure that the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear gave him was not small. "Grandpa, let's continue," Lu Yuan said softly. Fighting with Sendoryu gave him the pleasure of going all out. His fighting spirit rose, and he just wanted to fight to his heart's content. "All right, let's continue then." Sendoryu's eyes also lit up. He also rarely fought, and Lu Yuan could be considered a good opponent. The two of them were on the verge of exploding, and immediately collided fiercely again. In the sky, energy burst forth. Two balls of golden light stirred up the wind and clouds. Everyone on the ground watched with rapt attention. In order to take care of Hu Lina and Zhu Zhuqing, who were weaker than them, Gu Yuna directly used the power of space to condense a mirror, and reflected the image of the battle in the sky. "Hiss, the two of them are fighting so fiercely." Looking at the two of them going all out in the mirror, Hulina couldn't help but say. Lu Yuan and Sendoryu were really excited to fight. Both of them didn't hold back, and the space exploded and the clouds dissipated. Fortunately, they were in the sky. If they were on the ground, the entire Lake Heart Island would have been sunk. Indeed, the attacks of these two are quite terrifying, especially Obuchi. His attacks are endless, and he has too many skills. After fighting for so long, he actually didn't use any repeated skills. Seeing Lu Yuan's soul skills, soul bone skills, self-created soul skills, and polychoria skills used one after another, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but say, "Obuchi is really powerful. I didn't expect him to fight with the great consecrator to this extent. It's really surprising." Looking at the image in the mirror, the golden crocodile couldn't help but sigh softly. Obuchi's strength is actually still a bit weak. It's mainly that spear that's powerful. Bibidan's pink eyes blinked slightly. Her intuition told her that the spear was very extraordinary. That's a super divine tool, the Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear. Hulina said softly. Among so many people present, she was the only one who had seen this spear before. She saw it when Lu Yuan was receiving his reward when they had just left Massacre City. A super divine tool? This little bastard has a lot of treasures. Bibidan muttered inwardly. A super divine tool, this was even more powerful than the Rakshasa demon scythe. A super divine tool? Gu Yuna's purple eyes flickered slightly. She also had a super divine tool called the Dragon God's Heart, which was known as the most powerful super divine tool. However, compared to Lu Yuan's Dragon Emperor Draining Spring Spear, it seemed to be slightly inferior. Moreover, this spear seemed to have the shadow of the so-called pure-blooded true dragon. It should be Obuchi who got it from who knows where. This guy always had some inexplicable mysteries on him. Sizing up the battle between the two, Hulina's eyes turned and she asked softly, "Then who do you guys think will win in the end?" "It should be the head consecrator. Obuchi has already used his polychoria, but he still can't take down the head consecrator. Unless he uses the god-killing spear, he should lose after a long time," Bibidan said indifferently. If he used the god-killing spear, Lu Yuan would definitely win. However, Lu Yuan couldn't use the god-killing spear because Sendoryu would definitely die if he did. The god-killing spear was too overbearing. Once it was used, there was no room for maneuver. Sendoryu was one of them, and he was also Chihiro Snow's grandfather. Lu Yuan naturally couldn't kill him. Therefore, in Bibidan's opinion, the final winner should be Sendoryu. However, she really hoped that Lu Yuan would win. I also agree with His Holiness's opinion. Obuchi's soul power is too weak compared to the head consecrator. Although he can resist for a short time, his soul power will run out after a long time, and he will lose. The golden crocodile said. Not necessarily. He still has a trump card. This battle should be a draw. Both sides will be injured. Gu Yuna said indifferently. What? Hearing Gu Yuna's words, everyone couldn't help but be shocked. You don't have enough soul power? After using so many powerful moves, Lu Yuan only had less than 30% of his soul power left. However, Sandoria clearly still had plenty of soul power. An ultimate Douluo's soul power reserves were much more than his. It seems like I have to condense my soul power core as soon as possible and store more soul power. Lu Yuan muttered softly, but now, it's better to end this battle quickly. A fierce look flashed in Lu Yuan's eyes. He passed the Dragon Emperor draining spring spear to his left hand. His right hand seals changed, and the white clouds in the sky quickly gathered together. In an instant, the sky above Lu Yuan's head was filled with white clouds, blocking out the sunlight. Grandfather, be careful. We'll decide the outcome with one move, Lu Yuan shouted. His hand seals changed again. The clouds surged and churned, condensing into 5-clawed true dragons that roared into the sky. In an instant, a terrifying dragon's aura filled the entire sky. True dragon treasured skill, dragon control, activate. Chapter 859. The dragon taming technique could control 10,000 dragons, and it could also condense true energy into a true dragon to defend against enemies. Lu Yuan could only rely on the true dragon treasured technique to defeat Sendoryu when he couldn't use the god-slaying spear. The true dragon treasured technique was extremely powerful. Even if it was just one of the moves, it was still a great ability that shocked both ancient and modern times. Especially since Lu Yuan had the true dragon's bloodline, he could unleash the true dragon treasured technique's power to the extreme. When Lu Yuan used the dragon taming technique, the white clouds in the sky turned into true dragons. They were mighty, and 10,000 dragons danced in the sky. Good lad, such a terrifying attack. It seems like I can't dodge it. I can only take it head-on. Sendoryu sighed slightly. His 7th soul ring lit up, and the 6-winged angel martial soul walked into his body from his back and fused with him. At his level, he could already fuse with his martial soul. Even in his human form, he could still use the terrifying power of his martial soul true body. More importantly, he could use other soul skills at the same time in this form. The combination of the two was extremely terrifying. Sendoryu's 9th blood-red soul ring lit up with a thought. Holy light burst forth, and a holy and majestic figure crossed the sky. There were 3 pairs of snow-white wings behind her back, and she held a gorgeous golden sword in her hand. The entire figure exuded a biting cold divine power. It was Sendoryu's 9th soul skill, Angel's Descent. The angel goddess descended into the world, and her terrifying aura instantly locked onto Lu Yuan. I'm sure now. The angel goddess is indeed a woman. No wonder she chose Cher as her successor. Compared to the unclear carvings on the statue, the angel goddess's figure summoned by Sendoryu's 9th soul skill was so clear that he could even see the angel goddess's beautiful face. She was very beautiful, and not inferior to Chihiro Snow at all. Coupled with her holy aura, she was really charming. Ahem, I've digressed. Lu Yuan retracted his mind and focused his gaze. The hand seals in his hands changed again, and the cloud dragons in the sky roared at the sky, ready to attack. Let's see if your angel god's shadow is stronger, or if my dragon control technique is better. With a thought, Lu Yuan pointed with his right hand, and the cloud dragons that filled the sky rushed toward Sendoryu. In an instant, tens of thousands of dragons rushed forward, and the scene was spectacular. Good timing! Sendoryu let out a loud roar as he unleashed all of his soul power. The projection of the angel brandished its magnificent golden sword at the cloud dragons that filled the sky. What a terrifying exchange! Both sides are going all out. Looking at the battle in the mirror, Bibidon could not help but sigh softly. Based on the intensity of the attacks launched by these two people, even if she was at her peak, she would not have been able to deal with them. If I were in such a battle, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Looking at the fierce exchange in the sky, the explosion of energy, the collapse of space, the battle made the universe lose its color, and the sun and moon lose their light, Golden Crocodile could not help but sigh. If it were me, I'm afraid it would be even worse. I might be killed instantly. Qian Jun Xie and the other consecrators could not help but smile bitterly. For them, the battle in the sky was simply like a fight between immortals. True dragon treasured technique, worthy of its reputation. This dragon control technique is so wonderful. It's a pity that Obuchi is just a beginner, otherwise he would have won today. Gu Yuna secretly said in her heart. The more powerful the technique, the more difficult it was to cultivate. Even she had to admit that this true dragon treasured technique was really difficult to cultivate after seeing the cultivation method of the true dragon claw. Today, if Lu Yuan's dragon control technique had reached a higher level, he would have won easily. Looking at the current situation, I'm afraid both sides have suffered heavy injuries, but Obuchi has the secret character, so he should be fine. Looking at the battle in the sky, Gu Yuna said softly. As soon as Gu Yuna's voice fell, the situation in the sky suddenly changed. The gigantic angel phantom in front of Qian Dao Lu exploded, shattering into specks of light that filled the sky. The mighty cloud dragon was also beaten into a white mist and disintegrated. Lu Yuan and Sendorio were both hit by the backlash of the two terrifying forces. Almost at the same time, they spat out a big mouthful of blood, and their figures directly fell from the sky. The speed of their descent was extremely fast. In just a moment they were already 100 meters away from the lake, and were about to fall into the lake. Seeing this scene, Gu Yuna's figure flashed, and directly went to the sky, caught Lu Yuan's body, and then floated to the ground. Golden Crocodile also hurriedly went to Sendorio, wanting to catch him. However, Sendorio fell from the sky, and the impact was huge. He was not Gu Yuna, so how could he withstand such a force? His whole body fell directly into the lake with Sendorio, splashing a large amount of water. Gu Yuna gently landed, and Lu Yuan's body was carried in her arms. Are you okay, Obuchi? Seeing Gu Yuna land, Bibidon and the other girls quickly surrounded her. Puff! Lu Yuan spat out another mouthful of blood, and his whole face was as pale as paper. Bibidon and the others couldn't help but tremble, and became more anxious. I'm fine, Nar, put me down. Being princess carried by Gu Yuna in front of so many people, his old face was a little red. He was a grown man, so how could he be like this? No, you're injured, so be obedient. Gu Yuna shook her head, and rejected Lu Yuan's request. That's right, you're injured, and you still care about those superficial things. You're just trying to save face. Bibidon reprimanded indifferently, but her eyes were full of concern. Obuchi, be obedient. Hulina blinked and said softly. Be obedient, you're not allowed to come down. Zhu Zhuqing's cold voice sounded. The four women all expressed their rejection of Lu Yuan's request. Okay then. Seeing that all of his wives were against it, he could only obediently obey. Although it was a little awkward being hugged by Gu Yuna, it was still quite comfortable. After a pause, Lu Yuan asked worriedly, Grandpa, are you okay? Even with his false god body, he had suffered heavy injuries, and Sendoria's physique was not as good as his. Although his soul power was strong, his injuries were definitely more serious than his. I'm not sure. Bibidon and the others shook their heads. They only cared about Lu Yuan, so who had the time to check on Sendorio? Lu Yuan looked at Gu Yuna. She was the strongest here, so she definitely knew whether Grandpa was injured or not. He's fine, he'll recover in a week, Gu Yuna said. Hearing this, Lu Yuan immediately felt relieved. As soon as Gu Yuna finished speaking, the surface of the lake exploded, and Golden Crocodile walked out with Sendoryu in his arms. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper, and it was obvious that he had suffered heavy injuries. However, as Gu Yuna said, he would recover in a week. Looking at Lu Yuan, Sendoryu's pale face revealed a trace of a smile. Although he did not win this match, he had thoroughly seen Lu Yuan's strength. To be honest, he was satisfied with Lu Yuan's strength from the bottom of his heart. With Lu Yuan here, the martial soul palace could sit back and relax. Chapter 860. Sendoryu coughed a few times, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth, but his eyes were so bright. Gold Crocodile, Qianjun, Zhan Mo. The 6 of you listen carefully. From today onwards, all of you must follow Lu Yuan's orders. His orders are my orders. Do you hear me? Sendoryu's voice sounded. Yes, great consecrator, we understand. Gold Crocodile and the others responded at the same time. Obuchi, from today onwards, I will hand over the consecration hall to you. You can command them as you wish, Sendoryu said softly as he looked at Lu Yuan. If you hand over the consecration hall to me, what about you, Grandpa? Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask. Grandpa is old, and it's time to retire. In the future, it will be the stage for you young people. I wanted to pass it to Cher, but Cher's strength is still low. Moreover, you are the next pope, so I might as well hand over the consecration hall to you. Anyway, you and Cher are husband and wife. You are not an outsider, Sendoryu said. The consecration hall was Sendoryu's life's work, and it was also a force that belonged to the angel bloodline. Bibidon had always wanted to take it, but she had never been able to do so. Today, Sendoryu actually handed it over to Lu Yuan, which really surprised everyone. Even Bibidon couldn't help but look surprised. It seemed that she didn't expect Sendoryu to hand over the consecration hall to Lu Yuan. She couldn't help but view the 1,000 Dao stream in a higher light. This old man was quite bold. He was already old, and his ambition was lacking. Indeed, only by handing over these forces to Lu Yuan would the martial soul palace be able to develop better. It was rare for this old man to see things so clearly. Moreover, giving it to Lu Yuan was not like giving it to an outsider. If Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow had a child in the future, these things would still return to the people with the blood of angels. Sendoryu, this old man, was far-sighted. Don't refuse. This is the only thing Grandpa can do for you, Sendoryu said softly. All right. After a moment of silence, Lu Yuan spoke softly. Since Sendoryu had put it this way, he naturally wouldn't refuse. Furthermore, the influence of the consecration hall was not weak. How could they not accept subordinates who delivered themselves to their doorstep? That's good. Hearing that Lu Yuan had accepted, Sendoryu couldn't help but smile slightly. Handing the consecration hall over to Lu Yuan would not only make it more useful, but he could also concentrate on preparing for Chihiro Snow's 9 examinations and do his best to cultivate another god for the angels. This was the last wish in his heart. Ahem. Lu Yuan coughed. With a thought, the star ring flashed, and a jade bottle appeared in his hand. This is a superior healing pill, the pill of fortune reversal. It may not be able to bring the dead back to life, but it has a miraculous effect on healing injuries. Nana, help me give it to Grandpa. Lu Yuan turned his gaze to Hulina. Okay. Hulina nodded, then took the jade bottle, stepped forward, and handed it to Sendoryu. Sendoryu accepted the pill and looked at Lu Yuan with a softer gaze. Then Grandpa will leave first. Grandpa has to go back and recuperate. Kid, your strength is really not bad. Sendoryu smiled. Grandpa, take care. Lu Yuan said softly. The golden crocodile carried Sendoryu away, leaving only Lu Yuan, Bibidon, and the other 2 girls on the island in the middle of the lake. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a handsome guy as handsome as me? Seeing that the girls were staring at him, Lu Yuan couldn't help but chuckle and say, Bah, why are you still talking nonsense at this time? In this situation, healing injuries is the most important thing. Bibidon glared at Lu Yuan and reprimanded him. If you take the initiative to kiss me, maybe my injuries will be healed immediately. Looking at Bibidon, Lu Yuan said with a smirk. Go to hell, why are you still talking nonsense at this time? Bibidon looked at Lu Yuan, her pink eyes flashing with a trace of anger. She was really angry. Usually, he likes to talk nonsense and flirt with her, but when he is injured, he is not honest at all. Does he really not think about his own body at all? Nah, carry me back, let's go back and recuperate. Seeing a trace of anger rise in Bibidon's eyes, Lu Yuan immediately admitted defeat. Except for Chihiro Snow, he was actually a little afraid of Bibidon. Maybe it was a habit formed since childhood. Okay, Gu Yuna softly said. She carried Lu Yuan and walked toward a room not far away. Zhu Zhuqing and Hulina also prepared to go back. Only Bibidon stood in the same place. Teacher? Hulina softly said with a trace of doubt in her eyes. You two go back first, I will go and arrange dinner. This little bastard is injured, he needs to be nourished. Bibidon said softly. Oh, then we will go back first. Hulina said and walked with Zhu Zhuqing in the direction of Gu Yuna and Lu Yuan. Pushing open the door, Gu Yuna placed Lu Yuan on the bed. Looking at him, Gu Yuna's purple eyes contained a trace of concern. I am fine, I have the esoteric character. I just exhausted my soul power. Once my soul power recovers, this injury will be nothing. Holding Gu Yuna's jade hand, Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. The esoteric character's recovery was heaven-defying, but it was the same as ordinary skills. It required soul power to activate. At this moment, Lu Yuan's soul power was exhausted, and his injuries would be difficult to recover in a short time. Then don't talk anymore, quickly meditate to recover. Gu Yuna said. Okay. Lu Yuan nodded. He sat cross-legged, closed his eyes, and began to meditate. The clear Qi scripture began to circulate, and his soul power began to slowly recover. As his soul power slowly recovered, the effects of the esoteric character also began to show. Lu Yuan's injuries were almost completely healed in an instant. After his injuries were healed, Lu Yuan continued to recover his soul power. After today's battle, Huoyu Hao's control over his soul power had increased once again. When he completely controlled the soul power in his body, his fighting strength should be able to increase a little. In today's battle, although he and Sendoryu fought to a draw, in reality, Sendoryu was still holding back. Although Sendoryu used his 9th soul skill, Angel's Descent, he still had a trump card that he hadn't used. Once he used his divine power, Sendoryu's strength would increase a lot. Unless he used the god-slaying spear, he would be defeated by Sendoryu. Sendoryu was the weakest ultimate Douluo in the world. Pasizi, Tangqin, and the rest were all stronger than Sendoryu. Long Xiaoyao's abilities were much weaker when he faced Lu Yuan because of the suppression of his martial soul bloodline. There was no comparison. Lu Yuan's fighting strength was undoubtedly at its peak right now, but he still had a long way to go if he wanted to rely on his strength to defeat these top-tier experts. The revolution hasn't succeeded yet. Comrade, you still have to work hard. I'm not strong enough now. I have to become stronger. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Chapter 861. An hour later, Lu Yuan finally opened his eyes. His polychoria flickered, and a bolt of lightning flashed in the air. Lu Yuan exhaled slowly, and his pale face became rosy again. His aura surged, and a strong dragon's might permeated the air. Seeing Lu Yuan open his eyes, Gu Yuna couldn't help but ask, "You've recovered?" "I've recovered." Lu Yuan smiled faintly and took Gu Yuna's hand, and pulled her into his embrace. With Gu Yuna in his arms, Lu Yuan gently sniffed the fragrance of her body and caressed her beautiful face, and he couldn't help but feel a little moved in his heart. "Nar." Lu Yuan called out softly as he looked into Gu Yuna's mysterious and noble purple eyes. Her polychoria flickered with light. You've only just recovered, so don't mess around. If you want, I'll give it to you in a few days. Gu Yuna blushed slightly under Lu Yuan's gaze. She understood the strange look in Lu Yuan's eyes. She was naturally very willing, but Lu Yuan's injuries had only just recovered, and she was afraid that it would affect Lu Yuan's body. I've already recovered. Take a look if you don't believe me. Lu Yuan pointed to himself. That won't do. Let's wait a few more days. Gu Yuna shook her head gently, but her voice was filled with determination. All right. Seeing Gu Yuna's determined expression, Lu Yuan could only give up. He knew that although Gu Yuna was gentle like water, she was actually very opinionated. Once she decided on something, it was very difficult to change her mind. Not to mention, Gu Yuna was also worried about him. Then can I at least kiss you twice? Lu Yuan asked again as he looked at Gu Yuna without blinking. Looking at Gu Yuna, he always wanted to take advantage of her. Who told Gu Yuna to be so perfect that he couldn't help but be moved. Seeing Lu Yuan's expression, Gu Yuna was a little amused, but she didn't refuse this time. Instead, she closed her eyes slightly. Seeing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. Looking at Gu Yuna's delicate red lips, his heart moved slightly, and he couldn't help but lean forward. However, the heavens seemed to like to joke with him today. Just as he leaned forward, before he could kiss her, the space around them fluctuated, and they were interrupted again. Cough cough, subordinate seems to have come at the wrong time. Seeing the two hugging each other, Di Tian, who walked out of the space, couldn't help but cough with an awkward expression. Looking at Di Tian, Lu Yuan's eyes slightly narrowed, and a sense of danger. On the other hand, Gu Yuna's pretty face was also tense and expressionless. This caused Di Tian's body to involuntarily tremble as a trace of a bad feeling surged in his heart. Since I've disturbed His Highness and His Honor's happy occasion, I'm afraid that I won't have a good ending. But who would have thought that it would be such a coincidence? Master, why don't you continue while I wait outside? As Di Tian spoke, he turned around and walked towards the spatial crack. There's no need. What are you here for? Gu Yuna stared at Di Tian and said plainly. Lu Yuan's double pupils also swept across Di Tian's body. If there was really something important, then it would be fine. But if there wasn't, then other than the two debts from before, there would be another one. Right now, he wasn't far from being able to beat up Di Tian. Under the suppression of his martial soul bloodline, Lu Yuan would be able to beat up Di Tian as long as his abilities improve. Being stared at by the two of them, Di Tian shivered and immediately said, I'm here for something important. Just 2 days ago, a group of people came from the Great Star Do Forest. They wanted to break into the core region, but they were ambushed by the Bear Lord and left behind a ground full of corpses. Those people weren't weak, and there were 5 titled Douluo among them. I think this matter isn't simple, so I'm here to report it to you. Were they all carrying hammers? Lu Yuan asked. Yes, one of them was even a transcendent Douluo. He was the only one who managed to escape, and the rest were captured by the Bear Lord. Di Tian said. They're indeed from the Clear Sky sect. It seems like they still jumped into the trap that we set up back then. The Bear Lord is impressive. He's indeed a bear that knows how to scheme. He captured 4 of the 5 titled Douluo, and only Tang Xiao managed to escape. The Clear Sky sect has suffered heavy losses this time. Including the one who stayed behind, there are only 2 titled Douluo left. They're not even as strong as the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. Lu Yuan thought to himself. How's the Bear Lord? Lu Yuan asked. He's fine. He ambushed us from behind and killed 2 titled Douluo. How can the rest be his match? Di Tian shook his head. He was very disdainful of the Bear Lord's sneaky ways. However, that fellow is also useless. He ambushed us from behind, but one of us still managed to escape. Tian said plainly. So be it. It doesn't matter. Now that the Clear Sky sect has suffered heavy losses, the opportunity that we've been waiting for is here. Lu Yuan narrowed his eyes and said plainly. Opportunity is here? What do you mean? Gu Yuna asked in confusion. It's time to eliminate our enemies, Lu Yuan said gently. Is the news true? Bibidan looked at Lu Yuan with a questioning look in her eyes. It's true, Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. If it's true, then it's a good thing. Bibidong's eyes flickered as he said softly. It's indeed a good thing. We can begin our operation now. This time, we'll capture them all in one fell swoop. Lu Yuan clenched his fist. A fierce look flashed across his eyes. What do you plan to do? Bibidan asked plainly. It's simple. I'll ask Elder Long to bring everyone from the Hall of Worship to the Clear Sky sect. With 6 transcendent Douluo and 1 ultimate Douluo, not even a mosquito can escape from the Clear Sky sect. As for me, I'll bring the Chrysanthemum Douluo, Ghost Douluo, Sister Xiaotao, and Elder Hong Chen to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. They'll destroy the entire Clear Sky sect, Lu Yuan said. You're using a sledgehammer to kill a chicken with so many titled soul masters. But that's a foolproof plan. How about this? You can each bring 2,000 elite soul masters. We can't let you kill as you please. That'll be beneath your dignity. You can just let your subordinates do the work for you. Bibidan said. We'll do as you say. Lu Yuan stroked Bibidan's face and chuckled. Bibidan rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan, but she didn't resist. She was actually very fond of Lu Yuan's closeness. When do you plan to start the soul hunt? Bibidan asked. She had already given Lu Yuan full authority over this matter. 3 days from now. We have to be prepared. Lu Yuan narrowed his eyes and said lightly. 3 days from now? Bibidan murmured softly. Yes. 3 days from now, I want the Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect to cease to exist in this world. Lu Yuan spoke softly. His eyes were overflowing with killing intent. Chapter 862. Time flew by. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye, and it was already the 3rd day. In the side chamber of the Pope's palace, Bibidan was reading documents. The sound of footsteps attracted her attention. You're here. She put the document in her hand on the desk and looked at the person who came with a smile on her pretty face. N. Lu Yuan nodded, walked behind Bibidan, bent down, sat down, and hugged her from behind. He gently hugged Bibidan's waist and rested his chin on her shoulder. Pay attention, this is the side chamber. Being hugged by Lu Yuan, Bibidan couldn't help but grumble. This guy is getting bolder and bolder. He even dares to touch me in the side chamber of the Pope's palace. It's okay. When I came in, I told the palace knights not to let anyone in, so no one will disturb us. Lu Yuan said softly. You have a lot of ideas for this kind of thing. Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Bibidan said snappily. I can't help it. My Dong heir doesn't want others to know. I really don't like the feeling of hiding. Sniffing the faint fragrance in Bibidan's purple hair, Lu Yuan said softly. I also don't like to hide. I also want to be with you openly. Bibidan sighed. Didn't she want to be with Lu Yuan openly? She wanted to, she really wanted to, but, hearing this, Lu Yuan was silent. He naturally knew what Bibidan was worried about. Dong heir, I think there is only one strong evidence to prove that you and Cher have nothing to do with each other. Lu Yuan's heart skipped a beat as he said in a serious tone. What evidence? Bibidan asked curiously. Dong heir, if Cher really has nothing to do with you, then you should still be a virgin, right? Lu Yuan rolled his eyes and asked in a low voice. Yes, what's wrong? Hearing this, Bibidong nodded and asked with some confusion. Then won't we know if you're a virgin after we get intimate? As long as you are a virgin, then wouldn't everything be solved? Lu Yuan said with a smirk. Little bastard, what are you talking about? Hearing these words, Bibidon immediately reprimanded. She turned around and her jade-like hands directly climbed onto Lu Yuan's ear. After which, she fiercely twisted it. Being spun by Bibidon like this, Lu Yuan immediately sucked in a breath of cold air from the pain and hurriedly begged for mercy. Does it hurt? Serves him right. Bibidon glared at Lu Yuan. What nonsense was this guy talking about? He could even think of such a rotten idea. Moreover, maybe this guy was thinking of doing something bad in his heart. The more Bibidon thought about it, the angrier she became. She unconsciously increased the strength in her hand. What I said is very reasonable, Dong-er. This is definitely the most powerful evidence. Lu Yuan defended. I think you have bad intentions. Bibidon snorted. Sigh, I didn't expect you to think of me like this, Dong-er. I really just want to find evidence, Lu Yuan said sincerely. Only a ghost would believe you. Bibidon glanced at Lu Yuan, but the strength in her hand could not help but loosen a bit. Looking at Lu Yuan's grimacing in pain, regardless of whether he was faking it or not, her heart softened. Seeing this, Lu Yuan snickered slightly, and then once again took Bibidon into his arms. Looking at Bibidon's pretty face, Lu Yuan's expression changed, and he said righteously, "All right, let's stop fooling around. Let's get down to business." Seeing this, Bibidon's mouth twitched. This man's expression changed really quickly. Have you arranged everything? Bibidon calmed herself down and glanced at Lu Yuan as she asked plainly. Yes, I've arranged everything. The 4,000 elite soul masters will be split into 2 teams. Elder Long and Grandpa Golden Crocodile have already led one team to the Clear Sky sect 2 days ago. They will be on standby in secret. The other team, the Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo, have already set off yesterday. I think they should be in place by now. After midnight tonight, the 2 teams will attack at the same time and destroy the 2 sects in one fell swoop. Lu Yuan said softly. That's more like it. But didn't you say you were going to lead the team? It's already so late, and you're still in the Pontiff's palace? Bibidon pointed at the sky outside. It was almost noon. If they didn't hurry over now, they wouldn't be able to make it in time. The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect was quite far from here. There's no hurry. Naur is here. When the time comes, I'll tear through space and arrive in an instant. I can even accompany you for dinner and have some fun before I go. It won't delay anything. Lu Yuan chuckled. You're really lucky to be able to find such an outstanding girlfriend like Gu Yuna. Bibidon glanced at Lu Yuan. No, it's true that I was extremely lucky, but the luckiest thing was meeting you, meeting My Majesty the Empress. Lu Yuan chuckled. You only know how to say nice things to coax people, Bibidon muttered softly, but her eyes were full of smiles. Another arrogant woman. No, she's an arrogant empress. Lu Yuan sighed inwardly at the sight of Bibidon's expression. The sun gradually set and the curtain of night fell. In the pavilion at the center of the lake, the candlelight flickered and several figures appeared. Dong-er, I'll be leaving first. Looking at Bibidon, who was particularly beautiful under the candlelight, Lu Yuan's heart skipped a beat and he said faintly, Come back when you're done. Don't mess around as soon as you go out. Bibidon got up and straightened out Lu Yuan's clothes. Don't worry, Lu Yuan said with a smile as he patted Bibidon's hand. Turning around, Lu Yuan walked out of the pavilion with Gu Yuna at his side. Lu Yuan looked up at the pitch-black sky. It was supposed to be the night of the 15th, but the moonlight today was particularly dim. A large mass of dark clouds had obscured the moon. Even the heavens are helping us. The moon is dark and the wind is strong. It's the best time to kill someone. Lu Yuan chuckled and took Gu Yuna's hand in his. Gu Yuna waved her hand in the air, and a spatial crack immediately appeared. Let's go. Lu Yuan chuckled. Looking at the spatial crack, the 2 of them walked straight in. Is the holy sun not here yet? The night was slightly chilly, and it was almost midnight. However, Lu Yuan was still nowhere to be seen. The Ju Douluo couldn't help but feel a little anxious. What's the hurry? Master is never late. Just wait patiently. Ma Xiaotao crossed her arms in front of her chest. Her beautiful oval face didn't show any emotions at all. She had been very disappointed over the past few days, because Lu Yuan was too strong now. He had already surpassed her, and he didn't need her protection anymore. She felt very useless. She didn't know how to create soul tools, nor did she know how to manage affairs. She probably wouldn't be able to help Master in the future. Chapter 863. When he was in a bad mood, the words that came out of his mouth were naturally harsh. Brother Ju, you don't have to be anxious. Master has always done things in an orderly manner. He won't be late for something as important as a soul hunt. Master will be here soon. Brother Ju, you can relax. Jing Hongqian spoke softly. His words were much more artistic than Ma Xiaotao's. Ma Xiaotao was very straightforward, and she spoke whatever was on her mind. It was very difficult for her to hide anything. However, Jing Hongqian was different. He was an old fox, and he was very cunning. Brother Hongqian, you're right. I was too anxious. The soul hunt is too important, and I was a little nervous. The Ju Douluo said. Haha, I understand. Jing Hongqian chortled. Why are you so happy? Tell me about it. Just as Jing Hongqian finished speaking, a clear voice rang out. A crack appeared in space, and Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna walked out from it, hand in hand. Greetings, Master. Greetings, Holy Son. When they saw Lu Yuan, they all greeted him. There's no need for such formalities. Lu Yuan scanned his surroundings. 2,000 elite soul masters were hidden in the dense forest. The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect's territory was very big, and this dense forest was their territory. It was also very remote, and it was located behind the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect. Very few people came here. Furthermore, it wasn't far from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect. If they were to ambush them, they wouldn't be able to react. It was a very good place to hide their troop. Lu Yuan discovered that the so-called three upper sects all had dense forests behind them. The 7 treasures glazed sect aside, Long Xiaoyao and Golden Crocodile had led their troops to ambush the Clear Sky sect's back mountain. It had to be said that this was a little interesting. As he scanned the 2,000 elite soul masters, Lu Yuan revealed a satisfied smile on his face. These 2,000 soul masters were transferred from the Holy Dragon Army. They were well trained, and their fighting strength was impressive. It seems like you're almost done with your arrangements, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Everything has been arranged. We're just waiting for Holy Sun to give the order before we launch an all-out attack. The chrysanthemum Douluo replied in a respectful manner. The current Lu Yuan was no longer the Lu Yuan of the past. He had fought to a draw with the 1,000 streams, and had also taken over the matter of the consecration hall. The upper echelons of the martial spirit palace had long known about it. Therefore, he didn't dare to treat Lu Yuan as casually as before. The hierarchy in the martial soul palace was very strict. Lu Yuan would become the pope sooner or later, and by then, he would be the one he would have to pledge his loyalty to. Therefore, there were some things that needed to be prepared in advance. Not bad. Thank you for your hard work, Lu Yuan said softly. We're doing all of this for the sake of the martial soul palace. We wouldn't dare to say that it's been hard on you, the Ju Douluo replied. Lu Yuan's eyes flashed upon hearing this, and he patted Ju Douluo on the shoulder as he said, Uncle Ju, you've watched me grow up, so there's no need to be so formal with me. Your Highness, the chosen saint, etiquette cannot be ignored. Ju Douluo was very touched, but he still insisted on maintaining his etiquette. Lu Yuan could ignore this, but he couldn't ignore it. So be it. Lu Yuan heaved a faint sigh and didn't force the issue. This was the loneliness of being in a position of power. In the past, Ju Douluo had called him Obuchi and regarded him as his nephew, but now, he had become like this. He had become just like everyone else. Is there anything out of the ordinary with the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect? Lu Yuan asked in an indifferent voice. There's nothing out of the ordinary. They haven't discovered anything. Douluo replied. That's good. Since that's the case, let's wait. When the hour is over and they all fall into a deep sleep, we'll wipe them all out in one fell swoop. Lu Yuan clenched his fists and said with a hint of coldness in his voice. Cold winds blew past, and the temperature gradually dropped. The occasional insect cries in the dense forest also disappeared, and it was already the latter half of the night. All of a sudden, Lu Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly as he instructed. It's time to launch an all-out attack. Yes, Your Highness. Douluo and the others replied in unison before leading 2,000 elite soul masters toward the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect's encampment. This is destined to be a night filled with bloodshed. Lu Yuan clasped his hands behind his back as he slowly followed along. Outside the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect, a group of people were on duty. As one of the three upper sects, they naturally had their own patrol teams. However, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect was extremely renowned, and they didn't believe that anyone would dare to provoke them. On top of that, it was already the latter half of the night, and they were at their most sleepy, so their defenses were extremely powerful. Splat! A sharp blade slit his throat, and blood splattered through the air. One of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect disciples on duty was killed on the spot. Behind him, a soul master from the martial soul palace appeared before gently placing his corpse down without making a single sound. The same thing was taking place at the same time. One guard after another was being assassinated, and the entire Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect's security system was almost completely uprooted. After taking care of these guards, 2,000 elite soul masters rushed into the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect in a frenzy, and the massacre began. Flames gradually began to appear, and murder and arson were being carried out at the same time. Blood-curdling screams and howls of anguish rang out one after another. The entire Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect had suffered heavy losses after being ambushed in their sleep. However, they gradually came to their senses and began to retaliate. However, it was already too late for them to do so. In the face of the martial soul palace, who were already prepared for this, the casualties continued to mount. Chrysanthemum Pass, Gui Mei, you're all courting death. A loud roar rang out as an old man with white hair and a white beard pounced directly toward the Douluo, who was in the midst of a massacre. Bam! A resounding boom rang out as the Douluo stumbled back a few steps before killing one of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect disciples beside him with a smile on his face. You're too late, Yu Engine. The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect is almost gone. The Douluo chuckled. They had slaughtered many people along the way. Big brother, we've already been surrounded by the martial soul palace. Most of our direct disciples have been killed, and many of them have been killed. Yu Luomian's voice was tinged with a hint of anguish. They had been caught off guard by the martial soul palace, and they had suffered heavy losses before they could even react. Furthermore, these people had set fire to the entire Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect, and many of the people who hadn't been able to escape in time had been burned to death. The rest of the warriors were gathering together, struggling to resist the martial spirit palace's attack. Arg! Yu Engine's eyes immediately turned bloodshot upon hearing Yu Luomian's words. He threw his head back and howled with fury. His heart was bleeding from the heavy losses they had suffered. Martial Soul Palace, you all deserve to die. Yu Engine was in a frenzy as he pounced toward the Douluo. Lightning flashed as the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul appeared, and Yu Engine unleashed a violent barrage of attacks from the get-go. Chapter 864. Great! The Chrysanthemum Douluo wasn't afraid at all. His singular velvet sky connecting chrysanthemum shone brightly as he charged forward. It's your turn. Gui Mei chuckled as he looked at Yu Luomian. A sinister aura immediately spread. Yu Luomian's expression changed when he heard Gui Douluo's words. He was only a soul Douluo. Tap, tap, tap. This was the sound of footsteps on the limestone floor. Lu Yuan stood outside the blue lightning tyrant dragon sex gate with his hands behind his back. His eyes were focused, and everywhere he looked there was fire. The raging fire was exuding terrifying heat. When the fire was extinguished, the entire blue lightning tyrant dragon sex base would be reduced to rubble. Of course, the blue lightning tyrant dragon sect would no longer exist in this world. What a big fire! Gu Yuna stood beside Lu Yuan. Her purple eyes flickered as she spoke softly. It's not just fire. There's also blood and cries of agony. Lu Yuan said. Actually, you don't want to kill, right? Gu Yuna stared at Lu Yuan as she asked gently. I'm not a butcher. Why would I like to kill people for no reason? However, for the sake of the Martial Soul Hall's great cause, for the sake of the continent's unification, and for the sake of unifying the continent's strength to resist the Sun Moon Empire and the Holy Ghost Church's invasion, these people must be killed. Lu Yuan's tone was indifferent, but he didn't hide the killing intent in his voice at all. Just as he had said, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect was only slaughtered because they were in the way. If they didn't kill their enemies when they encountered them, were they supposed to keep them for the new year? Regardless of whether it was Lu Yuan, Bibidan, or Chihiro Snow, they were all very decisive. They would naturally eliminate their enemies as soon as they encountered them. That's true, but you don't seem happy right now, Gu Yuna said. Says who? I'm very happy. I've wanted to destroy the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect for a long time. I'm very happy to see this, Lu Yuan retorted as he walked forward with his hands behind his back. You're so stubborn. Gu Yuna grunted as she followed behind Lu Yuan. Chrysanthemum Pass, die. Yu Yuanjin seemed to have gone berserk as he unleashed a barrage of attacks, and the Chrysanthemum Douluo was struggling to keep up. Boom! Their palms clashed, and the Ju Douluo was sent flying back over 10 meters. What a good old dragon! This attack power is really strong. Ju Douluo's brows furrowed slightly upon hearing this. Even with his rank 96 powers, he was unable to oppose Yu Yuanjin in his current state. Was the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon really that powerful? Yu Yuanjin was one level lower than him. Let me help you, Yu Guan. Gui Douluo tossed the half-dead Jade Luo crown aside. He was a rank 95 Transcendent Douluo, so how could a mere Soul Douluo be a match for him? He then rushed toward the Ju Douluo and Yu Yuanjin's battlefield, and the two of them began to engage in a 2-on-1 battle. The Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo had been working together for many years, and they had developed a rapport with one another. However, Yu Yuanjin wasn't a simple person either. After seeing that even Jade Luo Crown had died, he became even crazier. He didn't care about his own life as he fought, and the Ju Douluo and Ghost Douluo were locked in a fierce battle. The sky was filled with flowers, lightning, and ghostly shadows. The three of them were fighting an earth-shattering battle. Under their attacks, the surrounding houses that had already been burned down were reduced to rubble. Everyone within 300 meters of their battlefield had been killed, and the remaining people didn't dare to come any closer. Interesting. This Yu Yuanjin is quite capable. A clear voice rang out as Lu Yuan walked over slowly. He had finally arrived at this battlefield. Watching the battle between the three of them, Lu Yuan could not help but be surprised. Master! A female voice rang out and Ma Xiaotao appeared. She was dressed in red, and her tender face appeared exceptionally beautiful under the illumination of the flames. As a transcendent Douluo, she and Jing Hongchen had been killing soul sages and setting fires when Yu Yuanjin was being held back by the Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo. Over this period of time, she and Jing Hongchen had already killed all the high-tier soul masters in the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan who were soul sages and above. Right now, there were only a few low-level soul masters left in the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. They wouldn't attack these soul masters, and the elite soul masters from the martial soul palace would take care of them. Is everything done? Lu Yuan asked. Yes, it's all been dealt with. The high-grade soul masters have all been eradicated. Ma Xiaotao replied. It's been hard on you, Sister Xiaotao, Lu Yuan said softly, and reached out to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. My lord! Seeing Lu Yuan's action, Ma Xiaotao's pretty face couldn't help but blush. Call me brother. I've always treated you as an elder sister. Qiu'er is my younger sister, so you can be my elder sister from now on. Lu Yuan said gently. This. Ma Xiaotao was stunned when she heard Lu Yuan's words. Are you unwilling? Lu Yuan asked. I'm willing, Ma Xiaotao said hurriedly. Of course she was willing. She was just too happy, and was stunned for a moment. That's great. I'll have another family member in the future. Lu Yuan smiled. Ma Xiaotao had been by his side for a long time, and had been protecting him since he was weak. Furthermore, she was different from Long Xiaoyao and the others, who were respectful and reverent. Ma Xiaotao had a bright personality, and they got along very well. He didn't lack subordinates. What he lacked were friends and family. After interacting with Ma Xiaotao for so long, he treated her like an elder sister in his heart. Furthermore, he had noticed the changes in Ma Xiaotao's mentality over the past few days. He was getting stronger and stronger, and didn't need anyone to protect him anymore. Ma Xiaotao was probably disappointed because of this. That was why he suggested this today. He wanted to make Ma Xiaotao happier. Congratulations, you have another elder sister. Gu Yuna's gaze swept across Ma Xiaotao's body, and her purple eyes carried a strange glow. She thought that Lu Yuan's old habits were acting up, and that he was tempted again. She didn't expect him to acknowledge her as his elder sister. This fellow has such a beautiful woman by his side, but he doesn't have any bad intentions. Is this still the Lu Yuan that I know? Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan. She realized that this man liked beautiful women, but he didn't fall in love with every single one he saw. Congratulations to you too. Now that I have another elder sister, doesn't that mean you have another elder sister too? Lu Yuan said with a smile as he pinched Gu Yuna's beautiful face. Become my elder sister? Gu Yuna's mouth twitched. She was with Lu Yuan because of love. There was no age difference in love. However, to have another elder sister, this. Chapter 865. This made her feel a little strange. Ma Xiaotao was only in her early 30s. As for how old she was, she could only give a rough estimate. She couldn't remember her exact age. There was probably no one in the world who could be her older sister. Ha ha! Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh at Gu Yuna's adorable expression. He had blurted it out, and only then did he realize that his girlfriend wasn't that young. She'd probably feel awkward calling Ma Xiaotao older sister. Alright, let's just call each other our own from now on. Lu Yuan smiled. Gu Yuna heaved a sigh of relief. That's more like it. Lu Yuan pinched Gu Yuna's cheeks again, then withdrew his hand and looked at the battlefield in the distance. Yu Yuanjin was fighting with his life on the line, and he wasn't at a disadvantage against the chrysanthemum Douluo and ghost Douluo. As the battle continued, the three of them were already injured. Even if Yu Yuanjin died, the chrysanthemum Douluo and ghost Douluo would be seriously injured. No wonder Yu Yuanjin could take down a titled battle pet warrior of the martial soul palace with him. When he went crazy, his strength was quite impressive. Interesting. This situation doesn't look good. The chrysanthemum Douluo and ghost Douluo won't be able to take down Yu Yuanjin. Lu Yuan's eyes flashed and his voice rang out. Mas, little brother, let me go. I promise I'll take down Yu Yuanjin's head. Ma Xiaotao volunteered. She had the Fire Phoenix martial soul and 100,000-year soul ring. Taking down Yu Yuanjin would be a piece of cake. I'll go. My hands are itching anyway. Big sister, you and Na can just watch. Lu Yuan chuckled. Alright then. Be careful, Ma Xiaotao said. It doesn't matter. To me, he's just a slightly bigger ant. Lu Yuan waved his hands and said nonchalantly. Even the golden crocodile couldn't take more than a few hits from him. Yu Yuanjin was nothing. Moreover, under the suppression of his bloodline, Yu Yuanjin wouldn't even have the power to fight back. Elder Chrysanthemum, Elder Ghost, you two come back first. Let me do it. Lu Yuan spoke softly, his indifferent voice spreading out. Upon hearing Lu Yuan's voice, the Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo unleashed powerful attacks at the same time, sending Yu Yuanjin flying as they silently retreated. Moon Pass, where do you think you're going? Seeing as the Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo were about to retreat from the battlefield, Yu Yuanjin naturally wasn't going to give up just like that. Roar! A loud dragon roar resounded. A 10-meter-long 5-clawed golden dragon flew across the sky and hit Yu Yuanjin. Yu Yuanjin's body was sent flying into the ruins. Lu Yuan glanced at the Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo and said, "You can leave now." Since the two of them had distanced themselves from him and only knew how to revere him, Lu Yuan did not force them. If you want to be my subordinate, then so be it. All you have to do is listen to me in the future. Lu Yuan's mentality changed once again. Yes, Your Highness. The Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo focused their gazes. They could sense that Lu Yuan's aura was becoming more and more powerful, and he was becoming more and more overbearing. They even felt that Lu Yuan's might had already surpassed that of Pope Bibidon. Hence, in the face of Lu Yuan's words, they subconsciously chose to obey. Ah! A roar sounded, and Yu Yuanjin rushed out of the ruins. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth, which was clearly caused by Lu Yuan's casual palm strike. With Lu Yuan's current fighting prowess, a casual palm strike was extremely powerful. Dragon form? You're really thorough. Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he looked at Yu Yuanjin, who was covered in bluish-purple scales. The current Yu Yuanjin was like a human-shaped Tyrannosaurus. Lu Yuan's 5-clawed golden dragon king martial soul naturally had dragon form, but Lu Yuan rarely used it. Although dragon form's enhancement was not bad, it was too ugly. It was different from Shun Jun's transformation into the 5-clawed golden dragon king. When he was in human form, dragon form's entire face was covered in dragon scales. Not only was it ugly, but it also made him look like a wild beast. With Lu Yuan's obsession with appearances, he rejected dragon form's ugly appearance. For example, Yu Yuanjin in front of him was very ugly. "Kid, I'm going to kill you." Kill. Yu Yuanjin's aura surged, and his killing intent overflowed. In his berserk state, he was dominated by his bestial nature, and he only wanted to tear Lu Yuan to pieces. "You're courting death." Lu Yuan's tone was indifferent. He circulated his bloodline, and a boundless dragon's aura suddenly swept across the entire area. Enveloped by this monstrous dragon's aura, Yu Yuanjin's entire body shook. Even the lightning on his body wilted, and his bloodline couldn't help but freeze. Dragon form's effect was instantly withdrawn. The blood-red color in his eyes gradually dissipated. Under this pressure, which made the depths of his bloodline tremble, he actually woke up from his madness. "Kneel!" Lu Yuan shouted. Golden blood energy spread out from his body, and the monstrous dragon's aura suddenly increased by a few degrees. Gu Yuna frowned slightly. This pressure was so strong that it made her bloodline somewhat chaotic. With a thought, her vigorous divine power immediately suppressed the fluctuations of her bloodline. Even Gu Yuna was affected, let alone Yu Yuanjin. He simply had no power to resist, and with a plop, he knelt on the ground. Under the suppression of Lu Yuan's bloodline, a strong desire to crawl surged from the bottom of his heart. This was the subservience of a subordinate to a superior. "You, who are you?" Yu Yuanjin supported himself with both hands to prevent himself from falling. He struggled to raise his head, looked at Lu Yuan, and asked in a hoarse voice, "Why do you know so much when you're about to die?" Lu Yuan's gaze was indifferent. The bloodline in his body strengthened again. The terrifying pressure directly pressed Yu Yuanjin to the ground. No matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't get up. The way you're lying on the ground is quite similar to your grandson, Yu Tianheng. Looking at Yu Yuanjin's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but chuckle softly. Tianheng? Yu Yuanjin muttered softly. Then, as if he suddenly remembered something, he said, "You're the Dragon King Palace Lord, Lu Yuan. Your Dragon King Palace is in cahoots with the Martial Soul Palace. Everyone in the world has been deceived by you." At this moment, Yu Yuanjin's mind suddenly became unusually nimble. He actually deduced everything. "You're right, but it's a pity that you found out too late. Rest in peace, Aunt." Lu Yuan smiled faintly. He raised his right hand and slapped down from the sky. Suddenly, there was a burst of dragon roars, and a dazzling golden light burst out. A huge golden dragon phantom of 100 meters long descended from the sky and pressed down on Yu Yuanjin. Suddenly, the earth shook and smoke billowed. With Yu Yuanjin as the center, a 200-meter radius around him was directly penetrated by Lu Yuan's palm. As for Yu Yuanjin, he couldn't be more dead. Chapter 866. Golden Dragon Ascends to the Heavens. This was the skill that Lu Yuan had just unleashed, and it came from the second-generation Golden Dragon right arm bone, a divine-grade soul bone. It was naturally very powerful, and it was a worthy death for Yu Yuanjin to be killed by this attack. Lu Yuan waved his right hand through the air, and the scene within the crater was revealed to him. Yu Yuanjin had already been reduced to mincemeat, but his soul bone was still there. "I can't forget about the soul bone, it's very valuable." Lu Yuan waved a hand and 4 soul bones flew into Lu Yuan's hand. "Only 4 soul bones? This Yu Yuanjin sure is shabby, but soul beasts with dragon bloodlines are very rare, so it's normal for soul bones to be rare. On top of that, these soul bones are all over 30,000 years old. In particular, this left arm bone is a pure dragon soul bone with a lifespan of 80,000 years. Looks like it's a treasure passed down in the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. I can give it to Chior, it's a good match for her." Lu Yuan murmured to himself. Lu Yuan stowed away the soul bone and turned around. Yu Yuanjin was already dead, so there was no need for him to worry about anything else. "Your Highness is truly impressive. You took care of Yu Yuanjin with just a few punches and kicks." Zhu Douluo sighed. He and Gue Douluo were unable to take down Yu Yuanjin even after joining forces, but Lu Yuan had reduced him to mincemeat with just a few casual punches. His powers were truly terrifying. Yu Yuanjin is nothing. Now that Yu Yuanjin is dead, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect is no longer worth paying attention to. I'm going to take my leave. You two take care of the rest. By the way, remember to bring back the treasures in the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan's treasury. It's all money, so don't waste it. This is the legacy of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. Lu Yuan looked at the two of them in an indifferent manner. "Rest assured, Your Highness, we understand," the two of them replied in unison. "All right." Lu Yuan nodded before making his way over to Gu Yuna, and said, "Let's go back, Nar." "All right." Gu Yuna waved a hand through the air, and a spatial rift appeared. "Sis, do you want to come with me?" Lu Yuan looked at Ma Xiaotao. Ma Xiaotao took 2 steps forward and walked to Lu Yuan's side. She opened her red lips slightly and sent him a secret voice-sending message. "I won't be going back. I'll stay here and help you keep an eye on them. The matter of the treasury is of great importance. It's inevitable that they won't be greedy. They won't. There's no need to doubt their loyalty to the Martial Soul Palace. Furthermore, they wouldn't dare to hide the things I named. But if you insist on staying, that's fine too. I'll agree." Looking at Ma Xiaotao's big red eyes, Lu Yuan said softly. He could understand Ma Xiaotao's thoughts. Ma Xiaotao wanted to help him with something. Ma Xiaotao had good intentions, so he naturally wouldn't refuse. "Take care of yourself. Don't tire yourself out," Lu Yuan urged. I will. Don't worry. Ma Xiaotao smiled, and her smile was exceptionally radiant. Lu Yuan smiled and patted Ma Xiaotao's shoulder. Then, he held Gu Yuna's hand and walked directly into the spatial rift. On the island in the center of the lake, a spatial rift appeared, and Lu Yuan and Gu Yuna's figures appeared. Seeing the light in Bibidan's room, Lu Yuan frowned and said softly, Still not asleep? It's getting late. The Cho hour is about to end, but this woman is still awake. Doesn't she know that staying up late is bad for her body? You go back first. I'll go take a look. Lu Yuan tilted his head and looked at Gu Yuna. Are you coming back? Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan and asked softly. As soon as she finished speaking, she shook her head and said, You probably won't be coming back. Be careful. Don't play too crazily. Hearing this, Lu Yuan's lips twitched. What was this woman saying? Was he that impatient? If he really didn't have that much patience, then he would have already eaten her clean in the past 2 days. Pfft, I'm just teasing you. Gu Yuna burst into laughter at the sight of Lu Yuan's expression. You've also learned bad things. Lu Yuan grumbled. I've been with you for too long. Gu Yuna blinked her eyes, and a rare hint of playfulness appeared on her face. Nonsense. Lu Yuan rolled his eyes. What did this have to do with him? All right, I won't tease you anymore. I'm going to go now. Gu Yuna gently planted a kiss on Lu Yuan's lips, and then walked briskly toward her room. Has been led astray by senior sister? Where's my gentle and understanding Lu Yuan murmured to himself as he looked at Gu Yuna's departing figure. He seriously suspected that Hulina had instilled some bad ideas into Gu Yuna's head over the past few days. Gu Yuna had always been as gentle as autumn water, so when did she have such a playful side to her? But her gentleness with a hint of playfulness isn't bad. Lu Yuan stroked his chin gently as he murmured to himself. After standing there for a while, Lu Yuan turned around and walked toward Bibidan's room. In Bibidan's room, she was sitting on a chair with a gentle expression on her face as she read a book in her hand. It's already so late, why aren't you sleeping? A soft voice sounded, and Lu Yuan's figure appeared beside her. I've been waiting for you. Bibidan smiled as she picked up the teapot beside her and poured a cup of tea for Lu Yuan. It's already cold. Bibidan couldn't help but sigh as he touched the icy cold tea. So what if it's cold? It's fine. Lu Yuan sat down beside Bibidan and raised his teacup before draining it in a single gulp. With his powerful physique, a cup of cold tea was nothing to him. Lu Yuan placed the teacup down before grabbing Bibidan's hand and gently squeezing it. Don't stay up too late in the future. It's easy to harm your body, Lu Yuan said with concern in his voice. I understand. Bibidan's heart warmed slightly at Lu Yuan's words of concern. What's the situation like? Bibidan asked. I personally took action, so I'm naturally confident in my victory. The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect has been completely destroyed, and I killed Yu Engine with a single palm strike. Lu Yuan replied in an indifferent voice. But what? Bibidan asked. But the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect is indeed one of the 3 upper sections. We ambushed them in secret, but they still suffered significant losses. Yu Engine even managed to take on the Chrysanthemum Douluo and the Ghost Douluo by himself. He's quite strong. Lu Yuan said. It's normal. Bibidan nodded. Then, he changed the topic and asked, I wonder how the Supreme Sky sect is doing. With Elder Long, an ultimate Douluo, leading the team, and the 6 reverends, the Clear Sky sect can't retaliate at all. It's a foregone conclusion that they'll be destroyed. There's no need to worry. Even if Tang Chen was still around, they would still be destroyed. Tang Chen isn't around, Lu Yuan said with a smile. As a precaution, he had secretly sent Di Tian to follow them. Even if the Clear Sky sect had 9 lives, they wouldn't be able to survive. Chapter 867. You're right. Bibidon nodded after hearing Lu Yuan's words. An ultimate Douluo with 6 transcendent Douluo, who were above rank 95, was not something that the Clear Sky sect could deal with. After the incident in the Great Star Do Forest, the Clear Sky sect was only left with 2 titled Douluo. Furthermore, Tang Xiao was injured. Faced with such a magnificent lineup from the martial Soul Palace, the Clear Sky sect was destined to die. That's why you don't have to worry. It's getting late. Get up early, Lu Yuan said gently as he caressed Bibidon's long purple hair. Bibidon wasn't wearing a crown in the room. Her long purple hair was soft and smooth to the touch. It was very comfortable. You should go to sleep too. You've been tired for most of the night, Bibidon said concernedly. All right, I'll go to sleep now. Lu Yuan revealed a mischievous smile. He reached out and carried Bibidon horizontally. What are you doing? Bibidon stared at Lu Yuan. There was a tinge of panic in her pink eyes. Dong are you afraid? Lu Yuan frowned as he looked at Bibidon. He asked gently. No, I'm just a little nervous, Bibidon said. Why are you nervous? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. What do you think? Bibidon asked. There's nothing to be nervous about. I'm not doing anything. I'm just hugging you to sleep. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Really? Bibidon looked at Lu Yuan with a scrutinizing gaze. Can I believe his words? Of course, Lu Yuan said. I don't believe you. Bibidon shook her head. Can this guy control himself while hugging a beauty like me? You can only choose to believe me. Lu Yuan smiled. Shameless. Bibidon glared at Lu Yuan, but when she saw Lu Yuan's handsome face, her gaze slowly softened. Sigh, I knew that this day would come sooner or later. I can't hide from it. Little bastard, be gentler. Bibidon bit her red lips with her pearly white teeth. Her face was completely red as she spoke in a weak voice. Dong what did you say? Listening to Bibidon's words, Lu Yuan was a little stunned. He really didn't have any bad intentions. He didn't expect Bibidon to be so proactive. Idiot. Didn't you say you wanted to prove it? Then what are you hesitating for? Bibidon spoke softly. She stretched out her hand and gently stroked Lu Yuan's face. Her eyes were filled with passion. Lu Yuan missed her. In fact, she was also restraining her emotions. It was very uncomfortable. Today, Lu Yuan took the initiative to hug her. They were a man and a woman alone in a room. She couldn't hold back the throbbing in her heart any longer. A strong sense of love gushed out crazily. She was a person who dared to love and hate. Now that she was in love, she threw everything aside. You don't care about so much anymore? Lu Yuan recovered from his daze. I don't want to hide anymore. I can't take it anymore. Little bastard, how confident are you about the success rate of the proof? Bibidon asked. 100%. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Then let's do it. Bibidon gritted her teeth and gently closed her eyes. This is the Bibidon I know. Daring to love and hate. But this time, Naur was right. Lu Yuan murmured softly. A trace of a bitter smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He carried Bibidon and walked towards the bed. The next day, it was already 9 in the morning. The sun hung high in the sky. Hulina, Zhu Zhuqing, and Gu Yuna were leisurely sipping tea in the pavilion at the center of the lake. Where's teacher and Obuchi? Why haven't I seen them for so long? Hulina asked doubtfully. Don't ask. They won't be able to get up for a while. Zhu Zhuqing's eyes flashed. Yuqing, you're saying that teacher and Obuchi. Hulina seemed to have thought of something and a trace of surprise appeared on her face. After Obuchi came back last night, he went to her room and hasn't come out until now. Gu Yuna took a sip of tea and said calmly. It looks like teacher and them are finally together. That's great. The two of them were so worried about this and that. I felt bad for them. Now that they're finally together, I'm really happy for them. Hulina smiled happily. But, as she spoke, Hulina's tone changed. But what? Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but ask. Gu Yuna also cast a puzzled look at Hulina. But with teacher's strength, she was fine before. Now that she's together with Obuchi, she'll definitely want to fight for something. She won't let others suppress her so easily. I'm afraid that Chihiro Snow's position as the main wife is not guaranteed. Hulina said, pretending to be serious. I thought you were going to say something. This has nothing to do with me. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. In any case, it wasn't her turn to be the main wife. She couldn't be bothered to meddle in other people's business. Boring, Gu Yuna said softly. She didn't care about these boring things. She was satisfied as long as she could be with Lu Yuan. Apart from Lu Yuan, no one could order her around. You guys are so boring. Hulina pursed her lips. They weren't interested in such exciting things. I support teacher. She's graceful and magnanimous. She has the bearing of a main wife. Hulina changed her tone and said softly. Gu Yuna and Zhu Zhuqing glanced at her at the same time and then looked away. What's the use of your support? In the end, it all depends on Obuchi's opinion. The two girls secretly thought in their hearts. Dong-er, look. Pointing to the bright red plum blossom on the bedsheet, Lu Yuan had a smile on his face. Facts speak louder than words. We made the right bet, Lu Yuan said softly while holding Bibidon's delicate body. And Bibidon nodded gently. Looking at the bright red plum blossom, her beautiful eyes were slightly moist. Obuchi, I'm worthy of you. I'm clean. Bibidon looked at Lu Yuan. Her pink eyes were covered with layers of mist and tears dripped from her eyes. Silly Dong-er, why are you crying? I've never cared about these things, but with this proof, we can be together openly in the future. You and Cher have nothing to do with each other. This is an ironclad fact. Wiping the tears from Bibidon's eyes, Lu Yuan said softly. And Bibidon softly hummed. Her soft and delicate body burrowed into Lu Yuan's arms, enjoying the warmth. The decision last night was actually a gamble. If the gamble was won, she and Chihiro Snow had nothing to do with each other. Naturally, it would be best. If the gamble was wrong, it would violate the taboo and the consequences, but fortunately they made the right bet. There was nothing more convincing than this. From now on, she no longer needed to hide her relationship with Lu Yuan. She could be together with him openly. And after today's events, she was also convinced that her memory had indeed been tampered with. Perhaps, as Obuchi said, it was the Rakshasa god's doing. Bibidon secretly thought. Chapter 868. Gently hugging Bibidon's delicate body and stroking her soft long hair, Lu Yuan's heart was calm, and he felt an unprecedented sense of relief. For a long time, there had been a barrier between him and Bibidon, and that was the relationship between Chihiro Snow and Bibidon. Now that it was proven that there was no connection between them, whether it was Lu Yuan or Bibidon, both of them felt relaxed as if they had escaped from a cage. This feeling of not being bound was really good. Moi! Lu Yuan gently kissed Bibidon's forehead with a gentle smile on his face. Still not enough? Bibidon raised her head slightly, looked at Lu Yuan and asked softly. Even if it's not enough, it's enough. I have to take good care of you, you're still a virgin. Lu Yuan said gently. At least you still have some conscience and know how to cherish me. Bibidon blinked her beautiful eyes and said in a tender voice. You are my Dong-er, of course I cherish you. From today onwards you are mine, completely and completely belong to me. Lu Yuan lifted Bibidon's chin and said with a chuckle. You also completely belong to this empress, little man. Bibidon's red lips slightly opened, and a majestic aura emanated from her body. Suddenly, she changed from a weak little girl to a noble Her Holiness the Pope. Interesting. Looking at Bibidon's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. What a tsundere empress! She could be weak and delicate, but she could also become graceful, luxurious, and full of majesty. Bibidon was the only one in the world who could have such a temperament. I really like you more and more, Your Holiness the Pope. Their foreheads drooped and their eyes met. Lu Yuan's eyes were filled with strong affection. He really liked this woman more and more. Seeing the affection in Lu Yuan's eyes, Bibidan's eyes flashed, and a sweet feeling welled up in her heart. She didn't expect God to be so kind to her, Bibidan. In this life, she finally got her own love. She found someone who doted on her and loved her, and she also deeply loved him. She felt a long-lost happiness, a happiness that surged from the bottom of her heart. Obuchi, Bibidan called softly, and her pink eyes were like limpid autumn waters, gentle and moving. Dong air. Lu Yuan also called softly, lowered his head, and sealed her cherry lip. The two's affection gradually grew thicker. Naturally, they were very intimate, but in the end Lu was still rational, and didn't act too recklessly. When it was almost noon, the two of them finally tidied up and left the room. TSK. In the pavilion in the middle of the lake, Hulina held a pair of chopsticks in her lily-white hands, and a pair of flirtatious foxy eyes looked at Lu Yuan and Bibidan, and her small mouth made TSK sounds. If you have something to say, just say it. Why do you keep staring at us like that? Lu Yuan glanced at Hulina and said softly. After saying that, he casually picked up some food for Bibidan with his chopstick. I just want to stare at you, stinky man. You've forgotten your old love after finding a new one. You only care about picking food for teacher, but I don't see you picking food for the three of us. Hulina curled her lips and said indifferently. That's right. Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Lu Yuan and whispered softly, then lowered her little head again. He will. Maybe he hasn't remembered yet, Gu Yuna said indifferently. The three of you. Lu Yuan shook his head helplessly. Bibidan had just had sex, and his body was weak, so he took extra care of him. These three women were talking as if he was some heartless man. Eat more. Lu Yuan said in a bad mood as he picked up some food for each of the three women with his chopstick. Sigh, he actually needs someone to remind him. What a heartless, stinky man. Hulina sighed softly, and the expression on her face was a little sad, as if she was lamenting that she had met a bad man. Little fox, you want to cause trouble today, right? Lu Yuan looked at Hulina, narrowed his eyes, and asked in a low voice. What do you want to do? Looking at Lu Yuan's expression, she panicked for no reason. Nothing, it's just that I might not have time to go back to my room to sleep in these few days. Lu Yuan said indifferently. His room was naturally Hulina's room. Since they were young, they had lived together. If you don't want to come back, then don't come back. Who cares? Hulina's heart tightened, but she still pretended not to care. Hearing this, Bibidan and Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but laugh secretly. Who didn't know that Hulina was someone who missed Lu Yuan so much if she didn't see him for a day? Although she said that she didn't care, she actually cared a lot. Alright, stop teasing Na. Why do you always like to play dirty tricks? Looking at Lu Yuan, Bibidan said coquettishly. Because teasing her is very interesting. Lu Yuan laughed softly. Humph. Hearing this, Hulina couldn't help but snort, but she was happy in her heart. Oh right, Obuchi, he's already back. Gu Yuna said softly. Hearing this, Lu Yuan nodded slightly. Gu Yuna was referring to Di Tian. How's the situation with the Clear Sky sect? Lu Yuan asked. It's already been dealt with. Not even a fly managed to escape. Gu Yuna said. Very good. Now that the Clear Sky sect is gone, we can proceed with the plan. Lu Yuan said. What do you want to do? Bibidan asked. Why? Dong Air, don't you have any ideas? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. I want to hear what you have to say first. Furthermore, I want to slowly hand over the matters of the Martial Soul Palace to you. Bibidan said. Dong Air, you. Hearing Bibidan's words, Lu Yuan was a little surprised. I've had enough of being the Pope. I only want to accompany you in the future. Bibidan said gently. Dong Air. It was Lu Yuan's first time hearing Bibidan's affectionate confession. He couldn't help but feel a little touched. Teacher, you missed out on something. Lu Yuan was still feeling touched when Hulina's voice rang out. What did I miss out on? Bibidon asked curiously. Hehe, other than accompanying Obuchi, I think you also want to give birth to his children. Hulina chuckled. Hearing this, Bibidon blushed slightly. However, she didn't deny it. She did have such thoughts. That's great. My and Dong Air's children will definitely be as handsome as me and as beautiful as Dong Air. All of them will be extremely talented. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Hehe, if your and teacher's children are extremely talented, what about us? When are you going to give us a child? Hulina pressed. That's right. It's been so many years, but there's been no news at all. Zhu Zhuqing complained softly. Little Yuan, now that you've recovered, we can also. Gu Yuna looked at Lu Yuan, her purple eyes blinking slightly as she bit her red lips, her soft voice coming from her mouth. This. Lu Yuan felt his scalp go numb as he looked at the three girls who were trying to persuade him to have a child. Chapter 869. Say something, why aren't you saying anything? Seeing that Lu Yuan was silent, Hulina couldn't help but urge. I can only say that I'll try my best. It depends on fate. Naer knows best that my bloodline is too strong. It's a bit difficult to pass it down to my descendant. Lu Yuan spread his hands and said helplessly. Hearing this, the three women couldn't help but look at Gu Yuna. That's true. It's useless to force him. It really depends on fate. Being stared at by the three women, Gu Yuna nodded and said, Then it's even more important to force him. After all, the more times there are, the higher the probability. Hulina said. Hearing Hulina's words, the corner of Lu Yuan's mouth couldn't help but twitch. This little fox was as lively as ever. She said everything smoothly, but her idea was not wrong. It was quite reasonable. Hearing Hulina's words, the three women's faces changed again, and they all looked at Lu Yuan. Okay, stop looking at me. It's better to think of ways to improve yourselves. None of you can fight. Lu Yuan said with disdain. Humph, humph, humph. 3 consecutive snorts sounded. Bibidon, Hulina, and Zhu Zhuqing's eyes were full of hostility. What are you looking at? Am I lying? Lu Yuan said indifferently. As soon as these words came out, the three women's eyes became even more hostile. Obuchi, I think you have some misunderstanding about me. Do you include me? Gu Yuna said faintly. Of course not. You're definitely much stronger than them. Lu Yuan said. That's more like it. Gu Yuna said with a soft smile. However, while Gu Yuna was happy, Bibidon and the other two were even more angry. They all looked at Lu Yuan with eyes full of resentment. Ahem, let's get down to business. Being stared at by the three girls like this, Lu Yuan couldn't take it anymore and immediately changed the topic. Then I'll let you off for now. I'll deal with you later. Bibidon's voice was slightly cold. That's right, teacher. Count me in later, Hulina said. +1. Zhu Zhuqing chimed in. This time, they've really angered everyone. Lu Yuan smiled bitterly. He regretted what he had just said. If he had known, he wouldn't have provoked them. All right, tell me, what do you plan to do next? Bibidon asked calmly. Since the soul-hunting mission is over, we have nothing to worry about in the Heaven Do Empire. Furthermore, Cher has basically taken control of the Heaven Do Empire over the past few years. Therefore, the Snowy Night Emperor can send her to heaven. It's time to completely devour the Heaven Do Empire. Lu Yuan said. The Clear Sky Sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect are already gone. What about the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect? Have you thought about it? What if they cause trouble? Bibidon asked. The 7 Treasures Glazed Sect alone can't do anything. Furthermore, I won't give them a chance to cause trouble. Lu Yuan shook his head and said. Then how do you plan to deal with the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect? Bibidan asked softly. Obuchi, don't forget about Rong Rong. Don't hurt her. Before Lu Yuan could speak, Zhu Zhuqing's voice rang out. I naturally won't hurt her. She's my woman. In fact, without Rong Rong, the Seven Treasures Glazed sect would have been gone. Lu Yuan said calmly. Aren't you in a cooperative relationship with the Seven Treasures Glazed sect? Zhu Zhuqing asked doubtfully. A cooperative relationship doesn't mean much. A cooperative relationship can only restrain him, but not me. To me, this relationship can be stopped at any time. He's still relying on soul tools, but I don't lack money anymore. However, Ning Fengji made the right move in the end. He successfully made me fall in love with Rong Rong. I can be ruthless to others, but I can't be ruthless to my own woman. It's because of this that he protected the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. Lu Yuan said gently. Then how do you plan to deal with the Seven Treasures Glazed sect? Zhu Zhuqing asked curiously. What else can I do? I can only take them in, Lu Yuan said. What if Ning Fengji doesn't agree? Hulina asked. He'll agree. He's a smart person. Smart people know what's good for them. Furthermore, Rong Rong and I are engaged. We're considered family. He won't resist too much, Lu Yuan said. You've planned everything. It's just that Rong Rong has been wronged. Zhu Zhuqing felt that it was unfair for Ning Rong Rong. This is the best for Rong Rong. Otherwise, it would be the cruelest for Rong Rong if Ning Fengji and I met on the battlefield and completely wiped out the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. Furthermore, Rong Rong was the one who took the initiative to participate in the game between me and Ning Fengji. I've never thought of dragging her in. On the other hand, Ning Fengji has been using her precious daughter to scheme something. Lu Yuan said softly. What you said is true. Zhu Zhuqing sighed softly. The memory of Ning Rongrong drugging Lu Yuan was still vivid in her mind. She liked Ning Rongrong very much and had a good relationship with her. However, she had to admit that Lu Yuan had never taken the initiative in his relationship with Ning Rongrong. She couldn't blame him. Since you're confident of taking over the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, I'll leave them to you. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Bibidan said, Leave it to me. Lu Yuan nodded and said, By the way, there's something I have to do, Lu Yuan said. What's the matter? Bibidan asked. Although the poison share gave the Snowy Night Emperor is special, there's still one person who can cure it. Therefore, this person has to be killed. Who? Bibidan asked. Yang Wudi of the Posey clan. Lu Yuan's indifferent voice sounded. The Posey clan, one of the 4 single-attribute subordinate clans of the Clear Sky sect? Bibidan looked at Lu Yuan and asked. Yes, the poison share gave him came from the Posey clan, Lu Yuan said. Since that's the case, let's kill them. Kill the other 3 clans as well. Since the Clear Sky sect is gone, there's no need for them to exist anymore, Bibidan said. Do as you wish. I don't mind. The non-allergic clan has a crystal blood dragon ginseng that's very useful to Na. It complements the yearning heartbroken red. You can bring it back. Lu Yuan reminded. He didn't care about the survival of the other 3 single-attribute clans. However, the crystal blood dragon ginseng was worth his attention. I know. I'll be careful. Bibidan nodded and said. Since it was very useful to Hulina, she would naturally be careful. After all, Hulina was the second most important person in her heart. Then it's settled. I'll discuss the details with Cher when I get to Heaven Do. However, you can make the first move. Lu Yuan said softly. I'll arrange it as soon as possible, Bibidan replied with a smile. Chapter 870. Why don't you sleep a little longer? Seeing Lu Yuan sitting on the bed in a daze early in the morning, Bibidan poked her little head out of the bed with a trace of concern in her pink eyes. I can't sleep. You should sleep a little longer. You were very tired last night. Lu Yuan said softly as he caressed Bibidan's pretty face. I'm not sleeping anymore. I've already recovered. You know my strength. Bibidon said softly. That's true. Hearing that, Lu Yuan nodded. Although Bibidon's physique was not that of a demigod, it was still much stronger than Zhu Zhuqing and Hu Lina. Come, let me hug you for a while. Looking at Bibidon, Lu Yuan said softly with a smile. Hearing that, Bibidon rolled her eyes at him, but she still got up slightly and burrowed into his arms. Lu Yuan couldn't help but hug her slender waist tightly and sniff the delicate fragrance coming from her body. My Dong air is indeed a rare beauty. The more I stay with you, the more I don't want to leave. I'm really more and more infatuated with you. Staring at Bibidon's pink eyes, Lu Yuan said with a smile. I'm not as beautiful as Gu Yuna. She's the real unparalleled beauty. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Bibidon was overjoyed, but she said something else. You're right. Just as Bibidon finished speaking, Lu Yuan nodded and said, You're right. Bastard. Bibidon couldn't help but complain coquettishly. She lightly hammered Lu Yuan's chest. She was just being modest, but this man actually agreed that she wasn't as beautiful as Gu Yuna. Seeing that, Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh. This woman was quite interesting. Still laughing? You heartless fellow, Bibidon said angrily. How am I heartless? You said it yourself, didn't you? I didn't suggest it. Lu Yuan said innocently. Humph, you agree. That's what you think in your heart, Bibidon said. You said that Na-er is prettier than you. That's true. Even Cher isn't as pretty as Na-er. But if we're talking about my attractiveness, you're no less than her. You're unique. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Humph, you've passed. You actually dare to say that other women are beautiful when you're with me. You're really asking for a beating. Bibidon muttered softly. Hearing this, Lu Yuan smiled bitterly. She was the one who suggested it first. This woman was completely unreasonable. Oh yes, Long Xiaoyao and the rest returned last night. Do you want to meet them today? Bibidon asked. Let's meet them to understand the situation. Next, we'll have to wait for Heaven Do to make a move. Have you sent a message to Cher? Lu Yuan asked softly as he caressed Bibidon's hair. I've already sent a message. But Cher is very opinionated. She only listens to you. Furthermore, Heaven Do's situation can't be changed. So I still have to make a trip to Heaven Do. Furthermore, I haven't been back for a long time. It's just that it's been hard on you. We've only been together for 2 days. I really want to keep you company. Lu Yuan said gently. It's good that you have the heart. I don't feel bad. It's already good enough that I can be with you. Bibidon shook her head and said. She was already very satisfied to be able to find love in this life. Dong air. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel warmth in his heart. Silly. Bibidon pouted when she saw how touched Lu Yuan was. Then she burrowed deeper into Lu Yuan's embrace. Dong air, I'll teach you a secret technique. I've wanted to teach you for a long time, but I never thought of it. Today I finally remembered. What secret technique? Bibidon asked curiously. It's called the esoteric character. Lu Yuan said with a smile as he hugged Bibidon. The destruction of the Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect couldn't be hidden. 2 days later, this news had spread throughout the entire Heaven Do Empire. The leaders of all the major powers had already received this news. Everyone was in a state of panic. When Yu Xian's Tang Yuehua heard the news, she couldn't take the blow and fainted. The other major powers were all trembling. 2 of the 3 upper sects had been destroyed. This was definitely earth-shattering news. If even the Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect had been destroyed, what about them? If they had been in their place, they would have probably been completely annihilated. Hence, after this news spread, all of the major powers were trying to find out who had destroyed the 2 upper sections. There weren't many possibilities, and those with good eyesight could basically guess who it was. The 7 Treasures Glazed sect. The Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect have been destroyed? Ning Fengji's mouth gaped open with shock on his face. 2 of the 3 upper sects had been destroyed. To the 7 treasures glazed sect, which was also one of the 3 upper sects, they were far more shocked than normal soul masters. The sword Douluo and ghost Douluo in front of Ning Fengji were also extremely shocked. These were no ordinary powers, these were 3 upper sections. How could they have been destroyed just like that? Fengji, who do you think did it? The bone Douluo asked softly as he recovered from his shock. This matter was very important. If the other party could destroy the Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect, they could naturally destroy the 7 treasures glazed sect as well. They had to figure out who the mastermind was before they could take precautions. The 3 upper sects have been in the world of soul masters for many years. They're very powerful. There are only 2 palaces on the continent that can destroy the Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect at the same time. The Martial Soul Palace and the Dragon King Hall. Ning Fengji's eyes narrowed as he said plainly. It can't be the Dragon King Hall. The Dragon King Hall's forces are doing well in Heaven Do Imperial City. They've never been mobilized. The Poison Douluo, Ming Feng Douluo, and the others are often seen in public. Furthermore, we haven't discovered any soul tools in the 2 upper sects encampments. Hence, it can't be the Dragon King Hall. The sword Douluo said. Then it can only be the Martial Soul Palace. The ghost Douluo said. It has to be the Martial Soul Palace. The Martial Soul Palace's ambitions are clear. They want to unify the world of soul masters and eliminate all obstacles in front of them, Ning Fengji said. Then I have a question. Why didn't the Martial Soul Palace attack the 7 treasures glazed sect? They definitely have the strength to do so, the ghost Douluo said doubtfully. It's because the 7 treasures glazed sect and the Dragon King Hall are allies. They're wary of the Dragon King Hall's power. The Dragon King Hall is the only power on the continent that can rival them. The sword Douluo said. Uncle Jian is right. The Martial Soul Palace wants to eliminate the other powers first. Then, they'll consolidate their strength before engaging in the final battle with the Dragon King Hall. Hence, they didn't attack us because they don't want to pull the Dragon King Hall into the fray. Chapter 871. Otherwise, if the Dragon King Palace joins the fray and joins forces with other forces, it will be quite disadvantageous for them. Ning Fengji analyzed carefully, and his eyes glowed with wisdom. Fengji's words make sense. What should we do next? The sword Douluo asked. Next, we have to contact the Dragon King Palace and fight against the Martial Soul Palace. Without them we can't do it. As long as they are willing to help, and with the strength of our 7 treasures glazed sect, even the Martial Soul Palace will have nothing to fear. Ning Fengji said. But will the Dragon King Palace be willing to help? The sword Douluo asked. The probability is very high. Isn't the Dragon King Palace at odds with the Martial Soul Palace? Obuchi even humiliated the Pope, so this matter should be successful. However, it's not a small matter. Perhaps I will have to do it personally. The bright Phoenix Douluo is very cautious, so it's difficult to move her. If only Obuchi is here. With him, things will be much simpler. He is very decisive in his actions, and I'm sure he will be very interested in fighting against the Martial Soul Palace. Ning Fengji said. That's true. I don't know how much that kid has grown. He was already so strong back then, and I'm afraid he has already caught up to me. I've never seen such a prodigy in my life. The sword Douluo sighed. Haha, Uncle Sword, such a prodigy is the son-in-law of our 7 treasures glazed sect. Rongrong is really capable. Ning Fengji said with a satisfied smile. Indeed, Rongrong is now at rank 55, and she is only 16 years old. Although she can't compare to that kid who was at rank 65 at 14 years old, she is still a prodigy. The sword Douluo praised sincerely. That kid is a freak. Apart from him, our Rongrong should be one of the top prodigies on the continent. Only that kid is worthy of our Rongrong. The ghost Douluo said. Ha ha. Hearing this, Ning Fengji laughed even more happily. Then prepare to visit the bright phoenix Douluo. Oh yes, bring Rongrong and the others too. As Ning Fengji spoke, he rolled his eyes and added another sentence. Alright, I'll go and prepare now. Gui Douluo turned and left. Then I'll go find Rongrong and the others, the sword Douluo said as he also strode out of the hall. The martial soul palace wants to cover the sky with one hand? Dream on. Ning Fengji said softly as his eyes sparkled. My lord. Your Highness. Long Xiaoyao, Jing Hongchen, and the rest gathered in front of Lu Yuan. The consecrated from the consecration hall were also with them. Ever since Sendorio handed over the consecration hall to Lu Yuan, all of them listened to Lu Yuan's orders. I know what happened to the Supreme Sky Sect. You did a good job. I have some instructions for you. Lu Yuan was dressed in white and had his hands behind his back as he looked at them and said calmly, My lord, please give your orders. Your Highness, please give your orders. Everyone said in unison. Next, we have to start the most crucial part of the plan. We have to help Cher ascend to the throne of the Heaven Dou Empire and control the entire Heaven Dou Empire. This is a plan that the Martial Soul Palace has been planning for a long time. It's also a crucial step to unifying the continent. We can't afford to fail. Gold Crocodile, Qianjun, Vanquisher, listen up. Yes, my lord. The three of them said at the same time. Right now, Cher only has the Snake Spear Douluo and the Thorny Pufferfish Douluo protecting her. Her defenses are too weak. The three of you will go and protect her. Listen to her every command. If there's anyone or anything that threatens her, kill them on the spot. Lu Yuan said calmly, and a sharp look flashed across his eyes. Yes, my lord. The three of them replied. Long Xiaoyao, Jing Hongchen, the two of you return to the Dragon King Hall first. Make your preparations so that you can support Shui at any time. At the same time, mobilize the Dragon King Hall's power and eliminate all the powers that oppose Shui. However, be careful when you act. Don't let anyone discover what you're doing. Especially, don't let Dugu Bo and the others sense anything. If they do, imprison Dugu Bo and the others. Don't hurt them. We'll talk about the details when I return. Lu Yuan said. Yes, my lord. Long Xiaoyao and Jing Hongchen replied. There's one more thing. Ning Fengji won't be able to sit still after the Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect have been destroyed. He'll definitely contact Uncle Yen in the Dragon King Hall. He wants to stir up some trouble. Inform Uncle Yen to delay them. Tell him that I'll return immediately. Tell him to wait for me, Lu Yuan added. I understand. Long Xiaoyao replied. All right, thank you for your hard work. I'll return in 3 days. When I do, I'll launch the final coup and turn the situation around. You can leave now, Lu Yuan said in a low voice. Sister, stay for a while. Lu Yuan stopped Ma Xiaotao. Long Xiaoyao and the others left one by one. Only Lu Yuan, Ma Xiaotao, Gu Yuna and the others remained. Do you have anything to tell me, little brother? Little brother. Ma Xiaotao looked at Lu Yuan with her big red eyes and asked in a low voice. I do have something to tell you. Qiu is still in the Seven Treasures glazed sect. I'll have to trouble you to protect her. If I'm not wrong, Ning Fengji should be bringing her back to the Dragon King Hall soon. Although ZG is protecting her, I'm still worried. I'll have to trouble you to add another layer of insurance. Before we subdue Ning Fengji, we have to guard against the Seven Treasures glazed sect. When the time comes, leave Qiu in the Dragon King Hall and protect her. Tell her that it's my orders. Qiu will listen to me. Lu Yuan said gently. I understand. Ma Xiaotao nodded and said. Then I'll leave it to you, sister. Lu Yuan took 2 steps forward and hugged Ma Xiaotao. Don't worry, I'll protect Qiu. Ma Xiaotao said gently. Then go. You have to be careful too. Lu Yuan said. Okay. Ma Xiaodao nodded and looked at Lu Yuan gently. After that, she turned around and left. I'll stay with you for 3 more days. After that, I'll be leaving. After instructing everything, Lu Yuan turned around and looked at Bibidon, Hulina, and the other girls. He chuckled softly. Tisk, as if I care. Hulina pouted and said, Is that so? I don't know when I'll be back. Are you sure you don't want me to stay with you for the last 3 days? Lu Yuan said with a smile. Are you serious? You're really not coming back? Hulina was a little anxious when she heard Lu Yuan's words. That's hard to say. I'll have to spend a lot of time helping Cher consolidate her power. Furthermore, Zhu Qing is already at level 62. The trip to the Sea God's Island is also on the agenda. Therefore, I might not be able to come back for long. Lu Yuan said softly. Chapter 872. Just because you don't have time to come back doesn't mean that Na doesn't have time to see you. Na, you should go with him this time. In any case, it doesn't matter if you hide your identity or not. Na can also go to the Sea God's Island. It'll be good for her. Bibidon spoke softly when he heard Lu Yuan's words. Is that really okay? Hulina's eyes lit up when she heard Bibidon's words. Her eyes were like the radiance of spring. Of course she can, but Dong Er, if Na goes with me, you'll be all alone. Lu Yuan said softly. That's right. Teacher, I'll stay behind to accompany you. Hulina replied. Why would I need you to accompany me? Do you really think I'm a weak woman? I'm the Supreme Pontiff of the Martial Soul Palace. I'm much stronger than you think. Bibidon said. Let Hulina go with you. If you want to see Bibidon, I can tear open space and bring you back to see him. Gu Yuna, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke up. That's right. I was wrong. I actually forgot about you. Then let's go together. Lu Yuan smiled warmly when he heard Gu Yuna's words. As soon as he said that, Hulina immediately smiled. Her smile was exceptionally bright. Heaven Do Imperial Palace, Crown Prince Residence. Grandpa Golden Crocodile, why are you here? Did Grandpa send you here? Looking at the 3 people in front of her, Qian Rinxue's eyes couldn't help but flash a trace of surprise as she asked softly. No, His Highness the Holy Sun sent us. The head consecrator has already handed the consecration hall to His Highness the Holy Sun. His Highness the Holy Sun sent us to protect the young miss. We'll listen to the young miss' orders. Golden Crocodile said. Grandpa handed the consecration hall to Obuchi? Could the rumors be true? Obuchi really tied with Grandpa? Chihiro Snow could not help but ask. Yes, that battle could be said to be earth-shattering. In the end, the 2 of them fought until both sides were injured. His Highness the Holy Sun's strength is indeed astonishing. Golden Crocodile sighed. Obuchi is indeed a big freak. His strength has improved so quickly. He can even fight Grandpa to a draw. How amazing! But Grandpa Golden Crocodile, you don't have to keep calling him His Highness. Call me Mississippi. You can just call us by our names. You watched us grow up, so you're our elder. You don't have to be so polite in the future. I believe Obuchi thinks the same. He once told me that he hates the loneliness of being in a position of power. As his status gets higher, he has fewer and fewer friends and family. Everyone is in awe of him. He doesn't like this feeling. If you're like the others, I'm sure Obuchi will feel very uncomfortable. Chihiro Snow said. All right then. In the future, I'll call you Obuchi and Cher in private. But in public, you still have to follow the etiquette. Golden Crocodile said. Okay. Chihiro Snow nodded. This was already a good result. It was indeed the way it should be. By the way, did Obuchi say when he'll be back? Chihiro Snow asked with some concern. She saw Lu Yuan on the 2 days of the engagement. It had been 3 to 4 months since then. She missed Lu Yuan a little. He should be back the day after tomorrow. He said so at that time. Golden Crocodile said. Then let's wait for him to come back. Now that the poison in the Snowy Night Emperor's body has broken out, when Obuchi comes back, he can completely send the Snowy Night Emperor on his way. Chihiro Snow said, a golden flame burning in her golden eyes. What? The 4 single elemental races were also destroyed? Ning Fengji had just gathered some forces after arriving at Heaven Do Imperial City. Just as he was about to go to the Dragon King Palace, he received another piece of bad news. His expression immediately became very ugly. Yes, all of the members of the 4 single elemental races were slaughtered. Even their encampment was burned to the ground. Sword Douluo said coldly. The Martial Soul Palace is getting more and more brazen. No, we have to go to the Dragon King Palace now. Time waits for no one. We have to unite as soon as possible and destroy the Martial Soul Palace's arrogance. Ning Fengji said calmly. His face was as calm as water. The Martial Spirit Palace's actions had given him a lot of pressure. Is His Majesty's condition still that bad? Ning Fengji's eyes flashed. When it rains, it pours. The Martial Soul Palace's actions were getting more and more brazen, but the Snowy Night Emperor just had to collapse at this time. His Majesty's health has always been poor. It's normal for him to collapse now. It's a pity that now is not the time, Sword Douluo said. Normal? I don't think so. I keep feeling that this matter is a little strange, but I can't tell what the problem is. Ning Fengji shook his head and said, although everything seemed to make sense, he still felt that something was wrong. Fengji, I think you're a little unbalanced because of those things. That's why you feel that everything is wrong. Relax, we still have the advantage. Sword Douluo said. That's right. As long as we can contact the Dragon King Palace, everything will be fine. Let's go to the Dragon King Palace. Don't forget to call Rongrong and the rest. Ning Fengji instructed. Got it, Sword Douluo replied softly. Outside Heaven Do Imperial City, Dragon King Palace. Sect Master Ning, I can't promise you what you said. This is a serious matter. We have to wait for His Majesty to return before we can make a decision. Yan Shaozhe looked at Ning Fengji and shook his head. Your Majesty Ming Feng, the Martial Soul Palace is getting closer and closer. Our alliance cannot be delayed. We don't know when Obuchi will return. It will be too late by then. Ning Fengji said. Sect Master Ning, don't worry. His Majesty will be back soon. Please wait for 2 days. A voice sounded from outside. It was a pleasant female voice. Ning Fengji and the rest turned around. A fiery red figure appeared in front of them. She had a pretty oval face, and a pair of red eyes that were bright and full of spiritual light. Who else could it be but Ma Xiaotao? Phoenix Douluo? Ning Fengji couldn't help but say when he saw Ma Xiaotao. Sister Xiaotao? Ning Rongrong and Wang Qiu couldn't help but ask. Phoenix Douluo, is Obuchi really coming back soon? Ning Fengji was stunned for a moment before he quickly reacted. He looked at Ma Xiaotao and asked. Yes, His Majesty will be back soon. It will take about 2 days. Therefore, Sect Master Ning, please wait patiently. Ma Xiaotao said. Chapter 873. Only 2 days? That's good. Ning Fengji heaved a sigh of relief. If it was only 2 days, he could still afford to wait. Oh yes, Sister Xiaotao, aren't you always with Obuchi? Why are you back first? Where's Obuchi? Ning Rongrong's lips parted slightly as she asked softly. She couldn't hide the concern in her voice, and her sapphire-like eyes were filled with longing. She hadn't seen Lu Yuan for 2 years, and her longing for him had accumulated to a certain extent. Now that she saw Ma Xiaotao and heard that Lu Yuan was about to return, she couldn't control her longing for him, and felt as if it was about to explode. Master still has some things to deal with, so he'll be back 2 days later. He asked me to come back first to make some preparations. Ma Xiaotao said gently. She and Lu Yuan were already siblings now, and Ning Rongrong was Lu Yuan's fiancée. Therefore, Ma Xiaotao's attitude towards her was a lot friendlier. Master also asked Chiu to stay behind. He wants to see Chiu the moment he returns. Ma Xiaotao looked at Wang Chiu as she spoke. Did brother really say that? Then I'll stay behind. I want to see brother as soon as possible. As Ma Xiaotao finished speaking, Wang Chiu's large, pinkish-blue eyes immediately lit up. She hadn't seen Lu Yuan for 2 years, and she missed him dearly. He was her favorite brother. 2 years had passed, and Wang Chiu had grown up a lot. She was 1.75 meters tall, and her figure was slim. Her legs were long and slender, and her face was shockingly beautiful. She exuded a youthful and energetic aura. Ma Xiaotao revealed a faint smile when she heard Wang Chiu's words. Lu Yuan was right. Wang Chiu would be obedient the moment his name was mentioned. She couldn't be any more obedient. Since Obuchi will be back soon, I'm relieved. The Martial Soul Palace's actions have made me uneasy over the past few days. Ning Fengji sighed softly. Ma Xiaotao and Yan Xiaozha's eyes flashed when they heard that, especially Ma Xiaotao. She had personally participated in the destruction of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. Moreover, she was very clear about Lu Yuan's plan. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but admire Lu Yuan's wisdom. He had considered almost everything, including Ning Fengji's possible reaction. Everything was within his control. When she saw that Ning Fengji wanted to team up with Lu Yuan to fight against the Martial Soul Palace, she felt an inexplicable sense of joy in her heart. By the way, why didn't I see Elder Douluo today? Ning Fengji relaxed slightly. Only then did he notice that Douluo was not around. Elder Douluo has some things to take care of, so he won't be able to get away for a few days. Sect Master Ning will be able to see him in a few days. A strange glint flashed across Yan Xiaozha's eyes as he spoke with a faint smile. So that's how it is. I was wondering why I didn't see Elder Douluo. Ning Fengji smiled faintly. Looking at the sky outside, Ning Fengji stood up and said, "It's getting late and I still have some things to do in the afternoon. Since Obuchi will be back in 2 days, I'll come back 2 days later. I'll take my leave now." "Take care, Sect Master Ning." Yan Xiaozha also stood up to send him off. Yan Xiaozha walked him all the way to the door before he returned. "Teacher." After settling Wang Chiu down, Ma Xiaotao returned to the meeting hall and bumped into Yan Xiaozha. "Teacher, did you put Elder Douluo under house arrest?" Ma Xiaotao immediately thought of something when she saw that Douluo wasn't around. "You know that this is Master's order. Douluo's sense of smell is too sharp. Even though we were very discreet when we eliminated the stubborn rebels in the Heaven Do Empire, Douluo still discovered it. To ensure that the plan is carried out perfectly, I could only seal his soul power according to Master's orders and put him under house arrest. Some people from the medicine hall were also imprisoned. There were a total of 63 people, including the sect leader of the 9-star Begonia sect, Yi Lingsu. They were all imprisoned. Right now, Elder Hongchen is leading the people from the Soul Tool Hall to guard them. Yan Xiaozha said. "Teacher, you didn't mistreat them, right? Little brother Lu Yuan said that we're not allowed to humiliate them, and we're not allowed to hurt them either. Everything will be handled by him when he returns." Ma Xiaotao said seriously. "Mistreat them? How would I dare to? How would I dare to go against Master's orders? However, what did you call Master just now? Did you call him little brother?" Yan Xiaozha furrowed his brow and said, "Xiaotao, there's a hierarchy. Even though Master treats you very well, you can't overstep your boundaries." "Teacher, you're mistaken. Master acknowledged me as his elder sister. We're siblings now. He's both my master and my younger brother." Ma Xiaotao said. "I see. That's a good thing. I wanted you to follow Master because I wanted the two of you to develop your relationship. If you can follow Master, you'll be happy for the rest of your life." Of course, your relationship with Master is not bad. Master is someone who values relationships. Whether it's love or kinship, he treats Holy Lady Chiu very well. Now that you've become his elder sister, you'll have someone to rely on. I'm relieved. However, Xiaotao, you must have fallen in love with Master. Yan Xiaozhi sighed softly. As soon as he said this, Ma Xiaotao's delicate body suddenly trembled, and her beautiful face was quickly dyed with a blush, delicate and charming. Master doesn't have such thoughts, Ma Xiaotao said softly. I know. With His Majesty's handsome appearance, extraordinary temperament, and incomparable talent, all the women in the world who have seen him will find it hard to forget him. There are even more admirers. However, His Majesty's standards are very high. There are very few who can catch his eye. You're actually not bad. It's just that your personality and identity made it difficult for you to gain his lord's favor from the very beginning. That's why I let you stay by his lord's side. I wanted to create opportunities for you. But now, it seems that the effect wasn't very good. His lord recognized you as his sister because he sensed your thoughts. Yan Xiaozhi sighed. Ma Xiaotao was silent for a moment when she heard this. Then, she said, it's already not bad. I'm satisfied that I can stay by Master's side. I don't ask for too much. It's good enough that I can maintain my relationship with Master, just like Holy Lady Chiu. I'll hide my feelings in my heart. Master doesn't want to find me anymore. If I say it out loud, it'll only add to his troubles. It's rare that you're so self-aware. I've underestimated you. Yan Xiaozhi was a little surprised. People have to grow, right? I've also grown a lot by following Master. Ma Xiaotao smiled as she spoke. Chapter 874. The Dragon King Hall. In an underground secret room. Rather than a secret room, it was more like an underground fortress. There were many rooms inside, and there was a large hall in the center. Douluo and the rest were here. Although their soul power had been sealed, Yan Xiaozhi didn't mistreat them. Instead, he gave them enough freedom to roam around the entire fortress. However, they couldn't leave. Jing Hongqian and many other elite soul masters were guarding the exit of the underground fortress. Their soul power had been sealed, and they couldn't leave. Yan Xiaozhi was strolling around the underground fortress with Ma Xiaotao. Elder Douluo, are you used to it? If you need anything, just tell me. I'll prepare it for you. Yan Xiaozhi asked as he looked at Douluo and the rest, who were eating. Yan Xiaozhi, stop being such a hypocrite. I'll remember this debt of privately imprisoning us. When the Hall Master returns, you'll suffer. Do you think that you can hide the truth from the masses just because the Hall Master isn't here? Douluo's jade-green eyes looked at Yan Xiaozhi, and his tone was cold. Hearing this, Yan Xiaozhi smiled faintly and said, I, Yan Xiaozhi, am completely loyal to Master. Everything I do is according to Master's instructions. If Elder Douluo is dissatisfied, you can tell Master when the time comes. In any case, Master will be back in 2 days. Are you saying that imprisoning us wasn't your intention, but the Hall Master's? Do you think I'll believe that? The Hall Master has always been generous, and he's always been honest with us. I think you're the one who's disloyal, and you want to get rid of your dissidents while the Hall Master isn't around. The Master doesn't like to be in charge. The Dragon King Hall's affairs are managed by you and me. If I'm not around, you'll really be in charge. The Hall Master only returns once in a while. Normally, the Dragon King Hall will be under your control. Douluo said plainly. Elder Douluo, your imagination is really rich. After hearing Douluo's words, Yan Xiaozhi smiled bitterly and shook his head. Why didn't anyone believe him when he was telling the truth? Humph, is it because this old man has exposed your scheme and caused you to lose some face? You're such a hypocritical old fox. Douluo cursed as he turned to Ma Xiaotao and said, Phoenix Douluo, I've always thought that you were the Hallmaster's trusted aide, and that you were loyal to him. However, I didn't expect you to be in cahoots with Yan Xiaozhe. That's right, the two of you are master and disciple, so it's normal for you to be in cahoot. However, since the hall master will be back in 2 days, I would like to see how you will explain to the hall master when we are not around. The hall master is extremely intelligent and is not easy to fool. Your good days are coming to an end. The corners of Douluo's mouth curled up into a smile. Then, he took 2 big mouthfuls of rice. It was obvious that he was in an extremely good mood. Ma Xiaodao's mouth twitched. She was speechless. The situation was so obvious. All the orders were given by Lu Yuan, but Douluo still refused to believe it. He always thought that they were the ones behind it. This old man's brain circuit was too different from ordinary people. Teacher, let's go. When Brother Lu Yuan returns, we'll let him deal with this. I don't want to see this old man again. He's as stubborn as a donkey. Ma Xiaodao tugged at Yan Xiaozhe's clothes as she spoke softly. Indeed. However, there's no need to doubt this old man's loyalty to the hall master. I'm afraid that he'll be very shocked when he finds out the truth this time. Yan Xiaozhe transmitted his voice to Ma Xiaodao. Brother Lu Yuan's scheme was flawless. He even managed to deceive everyone in the world. However, the only person he let down is this old man. He's really loyal to Brother Lu Yuan. He has also contributed a lot to the Dragon King Hall over the years. Ma Xiaodao also transmitted her voice back. I believe the hall master has his own plans. He has always considered everything. Yan Xiaozhe said. Okay. Ma Xiaodao nodded. She naturally believed in Lu Yuan's abilities. She had never doubted them. The two of them chatted softly as they left. Douluo, who was eating, glanced at their backs with a trace of disdain in his eyes. I'll wait to see the hall master's unlucky face when he returns. How dare you imprison this old man? How dare you? Douluo snorted before he continued eating. 2 days later, in the morning, it was 6:45 in the morning. Is everything ready? If you're ready, let's get ready to set off. Lu Yuan held Gu Yuna's hand with his left hand and Zhu Zhuqing's hand with his right. Hulina was lying on his back. Lu Yuan was really surrounded by beauties. Everything is ready, Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing said at the same time. Then let's set off. Lu Yuan smiled gently and said, let's begin. Okay. Gu Yuna nodded. She stretched out her left hand and drew a line in the air. Suddenly, a huge spatial crack appeared in front of them. Dong Air, we'll be going then. Lu Yuan turned his head and looked at Bibi Dong. Go, take care of Nana and take care of yourself. Bibi Dong said softly. Don't worry, I will. Let's go, Lu Yuan said. He held one in each hand and the other on his back. The 4 of them stepped into the spatial crack together. A spatial crack appeared in the air, and Lu Yuan's group of 4 walked out. After 2 years, I'm finally back. Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh at the familiar surroundings. It had indeed been 2 years since he left Heaven Do Imperial City. Now that he was back, he felt that things were still the same, but people had changed. Let's go, this place isn't far from the Dragon King Hall. Let's go back first. After I settle you all down, I'll have to make a trip to the Imperial Palace. Lu Yuan calmed his mind and looked at the 3 women. Because they didn't want to be seen, they chose a rather hidden location. Therefore, it would take some time to reach the Dragon King Hall. The 4 of them walked slowly and chatted softly. Sigh, this is my first time going to the Dragon King Hall. I want to see what it's like. Hulina smiled. It's my first time going there too. Gu Yuna's gentle voice sounded. Then I'll let Zhu Qing show you around later. Lu Yuan smiled as he listened to the 2 girls. Then I'll have to trouble you, Zhu Qing. Hulina said. No problem, it's just a small matter. Zhu Zhuqing waved her hand and said. It wasn't far, so Lu Yuan's group of 4 quickly arrived at the Dragon King Hall's encampment. The guard was an old man and recognized Lu Yuan. When he saw that Lu Yuan had returned, he hurriedly sent someone to inform Yan Xiaozhe and the others. When Lu Yuan's group reached the entrance of the Dragon King Hall, they bumped into Yan Xiaozhe and the others who were rushing over. Chapter 875. Greetings, my lord. Yan Xiaozhe and the rest hurriedly bowed when they saw Lu Yuan. Rise. Lu Yuan extended his hand and said plainly. Thank you, my lord. Yan Xiaozhe and the rest said as they stood up. Have you done what I asked you to do? Lu Yuan looked at them and asked softly. My lord, we've done what you asked us to do. However, Elder Douluo discovered us when we were killing some stubborn people. Hence, we followed your orders and imprisoned Elder Douluo and the rest. Yan Xiaozhe said. You didn't hurt them, did you? Lu Yuan asked. No, we only sealed their soul force and locked them up in the underground fortress. We treated them with good food and drinks every day. Yan Xiaozhe said. All right, that's good. Lu Yuan nodded gently. My lord, do you want to see Elder Douluo and the rest? Yan Xiaozhe asked. There's no hurry. Let's go in first. After a while, I still have to make a trip to the palace. Lu Yuan shook his head and said. Yes, my lord. Yan Xiaozhe said as he stepped aside. Lu Yuan and the rest walked into the main hall of the Dragon King Palace. Lu Yuan sat in the main seat. Gu Yuna, Zhu Zhuqing, and the rest stood beside him, while Yan Xiaozhe and the rest stood below. This is... Looking at the middle-aged man beside Yan Xiaozhe, Lu Yuan's face was filled with curiosity. This was a new face. My lord, I was about to introduce him to you. This is Chess Douluo Biansu. His martial soul is the black and white chess. He's a rank 92 control type titled Douluo. He's only 44 years old this year. Yan Xiaozhe said. Oh? He's so young? Lu Yuan was a little surprised. A 44-year-old titled Douluo. His talent isn't low. Where did they find such a talent? The Chess Douluo is a new talent that the Dragon King Palace has recruited. He's very powerful. Yan Xiaozhe said. Bian Su greets the palace master. The moment Yan Xiaozhe finished speaking, the Chess Douluo immediately bowed to Lu Yuan. Chess Douluo, you don't have to be so polite. Since he's a titled soul master, let him take over as an elder. Uncle Yan, I'll leave the arrangements to you. Lu Yuan looked at Yan Xiaozhe said. Yes, my lord. Yan Xiaozhe acknowledged. Yes. Lu Yuan acknowledged. He looked around and asked, Where's Chiu-er? Chiu-er's here, brother. Lu Yuan tilted his head to look, and Wang Chiu-er's alluring figure appeared before his eyes. Behind her was a fiery red figure. It was Ma Xiaotao. Wang Chiu-er ran as fast as she could, and a gust of wind blew as she leapt into Lu Yuan's arms. Brother, Chiu-er misses you so much. Wang Chiu-er kissed Lu Yuan's cheek excitedly. After that, she hugged Lu Yuan's neck and sat on Lu Yuan's body. Brother misses Chiu-er too. Lu Yuan pinched Wang Chiu-er's nose and laughed. Really? Wang Chiu-er asked. Of course it's true. Lu Yuan smiled. Chiu-er doesn't believe you. It's been 2 years, but you haven't come to see me even once. I'm unhappy. Brother doesn't miss me at all. Wang Chiu-er pouted and said. I don't have time. I'm busy. Look, you want to see me the moment you come back? Lu Yuan pinched Wang Chiu-er's cheek and laughed. I'll forgive you this time. However, you have to spend more time with me in the future. I want to be by your side forever. Wang Chiu-er said softly. Her voice was full of attachment. All right, I'll spend more time with you, Lu Yuan said dotingly. His sister is so cute and adorable. She's very likable. He only had one sister, so he had to pamper her. Chiu-er, I haven't seen you in 2 years. I didn't expect you to grow so much. Lu Yuan said with a smile as he sized up Wang Chiu-er. Perhaps it was because of her golden dragon martial soul, but Wang Chiu-er was about 15 years old. However, her figure wasn't inferior to an 18 or 19-year-old girl's. She was developing very quickly. Furthermore, Wang Qiu-er's face was delicate and pretty. All in all, her charm wasn't inferior to Chihiro Snow and the other girls. "Do you like it, brother?" Wang Qiu asked. Lu Yuan was stunned when he heard this. It was easy for others to misunderstand. However, when he saw Wang Qiu-er's pure, pinkish-blue eyes, he couldn't help but scold himself. Wang Qiu-er was very innocent. She didn't have any other intentions. She didn't understand these things. He was overthinking. "Do you like the current Qiu-er?" Wang Qiu-er asked. "I do. I like you no matter what you look like." Lu Yuan's lips curled into a smile as he said gently. "I like you too. I like you a lot." Wang Qiu-er's eyes curved into crescents when she heard Lu Yuan's words. She hugged Lu Yuan's neck tightly. Her voice was as pleasant as silver bells. Lu Yuan smiled and gently caressed Wang Qiu-er's bright, golden hair. The siblings shared their thoughts. Lu Yuan patted Wang Qiu-er's head and said, "Qiu-er, look who that is." Lu Yuan pointed at Gu Yuna. "Ah, it's Sister Na-er." Wang Qiu-er's eyes brightened when she saw Gu Yuna. Her eyes were filled with surprise. "I'm standing right here. I didn't expect you to not notice me." Gu Yuna sighed. She sounded a little sad. Qiu-er only cared about you. Sister Na-er, don't be angry." After hearing Gu Yuna's words, Wang Qiu-er lowered her head and spoke pitifully. "Go and hug your sister. She won't be angry then." Lu Yuan smiled as he tickled Wang Qiu-er's nose. "Okay." Wang Qiu-er acknowledged. After that, she got off Lu Yuan's body and jumped into Gu Yuna's arms. She gave her a big hug. Gu Yuna smiled gently and caressed Wang Qiu-er's head. Lu Yuan smiled when he saw how intimate the two of them were. He glanced at Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing before he turned to Yan Xiaozhe. "Uncle Yan, please send someone to tidy up the 2 rooms around my room. Prepare some daily necessities. Na-er and Na-er will be staying in the Dragon King Hall from now on." Lu Yuan said. "Yes, master." "I'll do it properly," Yan Xiaozhe said. "Okay, I'm not worried about you." "Alright, there's nothing else here. All of you can leave." Lu Yuan waved his hand and said softly, "Yes, master." Yan Xiaozhe and the others bowed before they left. Chapter 876. Let's go. Since we still have some time, I'll show you around the Dragon King Hall. I'll be heading to the Imperial Palace soon. Lu Yuan stood up and said to Hulina and Gu Yuna. "You're in a hurry to see Chihiro Snow, aren't you?" Hulina asked. "Yes, I haven't seen her in 3 or 4 months. I miss her a lot. I'll bring her along this time so we can get together." "You've never been together before," Lu Yuan said softly. "You forgot about Rongrong. She has to come too." Zhu Zhuqing was still thinking about her little sister. "Rongrong, there's no need to call her. Ning Fengji will naturally bring her here. If he knows I'm back, he'll definitely rush over," Lu Yuan said with a smile. "Ning Fengji was really tricked by you." Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but sigh at Lu Yuan's words. "We were just scheming against each other. It was just a matter of who was more skilled. I won and he didn't lose. I successfully controlled everything, but I was tied down by Rongrong. Fortunately, the result wasn't bad. I achieved the goal I wanted to achieve in the end," Lu Yuan said softly. "That's true." Zhu Zhuqing nodded. "This was a good result. It was much better than the destruction of the 7 treasures glazed sect. Alright, let's cut the crap. We can't waste our precious time." Lu Yuan said softly and led the way. Hulina and the others hurriedly followed. After showing the girls around the Dragon King Hall, Lu Yuan gave this task to Zhu Zhuqing and had her continue to lead the way. He, on the other hand, began to rush towards the Heaven Do Imperial Palace. Given Lu Yuan's current speed, if he were to travel at full speed, he could be said to be extremely fast. Golden light flashed and a dragon's roar resounded. In less than an hour, Lu Yuan had arrived at the Imperial Palace. Heaven Do Imperial Palace, Crown Prince Residence. It was still the same study. Chihiro Snow leaned against the back of the chair, his left hand gently tapping on the table while his right hand spun a pen leisurely. Didn't Obuchi say that he would be back today? Why isn't there any news yet? Is it not time yet? Through the window, he looked at the sky outside. At this time, the sky was bright and the sun was shining brightly. It was already 9 in the morning. After a while, it would be time for lunch. It was already late. Or has this guy come back and is so happy in the Dragon King Palace that he forgot about me? Chihiro Snow's golden eyes blinked, and there was a hint of resentment in his voice. I can forget anyone, but I can't forget my share. A chuckle sounded in the study, causing Chihiro Snow's eyes to sharpen. However, when she sensed the familiarity of the voice, she lowered her guard again. Her golden eyes glanced sideways, and there, Lu Yuan's figure appeared. Share. Lu Yuan opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he was interrupted by Chihiro Snow halfway through. Bastard, every time you appear, you come and go like a ghost. Are you trying to scare me to death? Chihiro Snow glared at Lu Yuan, but there was a trace of a smile hidden deep in her watery golden eyes. She was actually very happy to see Lu Yuan. After being preempted by Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan couldn't help but be stunned. Did Cher eat gunpowder today? She wasn't like this before. Why is she so angry today? What are you waiting for? Come over here, do you like to stand? Chihiro Snow said indifferently. This time, Lu Yuan reacted. He stared at Chihiro Snow for a while, then smiled faintly. He took 2 steps forward and picked Chihiro Snow up by the waist. He sat down on the chair and put Chihiro Snow on his lap. He removed Chihiro Snow's disguise and kissed her red lip. A quarter of an hour later, Chihiro Snow lay in Lu Yuan's arms obediently. Her expression was calm and gentle, and there was no trace of her previous anger. Did you miss me? Lu Yuan twirled a strand of Chihiro Snow's long golden hair and played with it. He looked at her jade-like face and asked softly, What do you think? Heartless stinky man, you only know how to accompany them, but the time you spent with me is so short. Chihiro Snow complained in a low voice. I will accompany you for a period of time, Lu Yuan said softly. Next, he had to prepare for Chihiro Snow's ascension to the throne and help her consolidate her power. It would take a long time, so he could accompany her all the time. Humph, that's more like it. Chihiro Snow snorted and snuggled a little tighter in Lu Yuan's arms. When did you come back? Chihiro Snow looked up at Lu Yuan and asked in a low voice. I just came back. After I brought senior sister Zhu Qing and the others back to the Dragon King Palace, I immediately came here. I knew that you must be waiting for me. Lu Yuan smiled warmly. At least you have some conscience. Chihiro Snow's lips curved slightly. She was very happy that Lu Yuan remembered her and cared about her. How is the situation in the court? Lu Yuan asked as he looked at Chihiro Snow. Private matters had to be discussed, but official matters could not be delayed. This matter was related to the Martial Soul Palace's grand plan. Although he did not like to be in charge, he still had to pay attention at this time. It's very good. I have killed a large number of the ministers who were my enemies in the past few years. The rest were killed by your subordinate. Now, in the entire court, except for a few neutral ministers, the rest support me. Chihiro Snow said. You really killed them all? What about Avalanche? What about Prince Xuexing? Lu Yuan asked. They are all still here, but now Prince Xuexing supports me. As for Avalanche, he is very obedient and did not cause any trouble. Chihiro Snow said softly. Even so, he has to be killed. In order to carry out the plan and completely destroy the hopes of the royalists and even the neutral factions, the Heaven Do imperial family can only have one prince, Xuexinghe. The other male members of the imperial family have to be killed. In this way, even if they have any ideas, it will be useless. Lu Yuan said sternly. Won't this cause too much of a commotion? People will be suspicious. For example, those neutral factions may cause some trouble. Chihiro Snow frowned slightly and said softly, Isn't it fine if we arrange it cleverly? For example, Avalanche tried to usurp the throne. Prince Xue Xing discovered and stopped him, but he was killed. We only need one reason. So what if some people are suspicious? When the time comes, what can they change? You're now the crown prince. It's only logical for you to succeed the throne. It's the most legitimate thing to do. Moreover, the army is already under your control. Our current strength is enough to suppress anyone who disagrees. If anyone wants to cause trouble, then kill them. Kill them until no one dares to oppose. This can also establish your prestige. After all, you have just ascended the throne and need to establish your prestige. There is nothing more frightening than fresh blood. Lu Yuan said faintly. His tone was filled with murderous intent. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.